evening, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Night Bully Talk. We've got a special guest with us tonight. We normally go into this with a introduction, allowing him to introduce himself. But I mean, he's a frequent guest, so if you've never seen him before or lived under a rock, this is Dave Wilson, president of the ABKC and founder of Razor's Edge. Dave.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome back, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
We love having you. I can't remember how many times we've had the.
This is the third that I know of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So super excited. A lot going on.
Yeah. Man, she said all that. That was quite a resume, but she said it all smooth, like, did she?
You have a larger resume than we have time for.
Oh yeah, it's gotten way larger this month.
Yeah,
it's been a fun month for me.
Woo, man, who knew?
That's been the attack and discredit Dave Wilson month for sure.
Oh man. Well, so one of the things that I definitely kind of wanted to start out with is, there's been a lot of chatter lately, and a lot of finger pointing and a lot of confusion. I think. Well, it's based on confusion, I believe. Hierarchy when it comes to the ABKC. You're the president, but I think that with that comes a lot of people feeling like you kind of run things and like you're the only decision maker in there, and I feel like that's obviously not accurate. So I want to make sure that we give you the opportunity to kind of give us a good idea of like, how is the ABKC built, like from the top to the bottom, the branch work, because I mean, it is a massive organization. I don't think people really get that. So I want to get it.
I'm basically president, but that really boils down to I do public relations and I deal with a lot of behind the scenes problems. And that's about the extent of who I am and what I do. It's a lot more than it sounds. But so here in Fredericksburg, we have an office with a staff of 6. Office manager is Emily. Emily's been office manager for quite a few years, so she runs the office independent of us. Deanna oversees the office, but not in the office. So that all runs independent of me. So anything that has to do with registrations and internal office things and all of that, I am not involved in the day-to-day. I don't go into the office. It's just not my position. We also have offices around the world. We have an office in Guatemala that handles from Mexico South, Central South America. We have an office in Spain that handles all of Europe. We have an office in Australia that does Australia, New Zealand, and some of the places in Asia. And then we have an office in Russia. And all those offices run independent of me. They all feed back into the main office, but none of those are anything that I'm involved in the day-to-day. They're all independent and they all run like that. Internally in the ABKC, we have James Cooper, who is the vice president. He deals with a lot of judge issues and things like that, show issues. Then we have Regina. Regina is involved in training all of the reps. She's the one who actually runs nationals. That's her baby. She's a judge, but she's so much more inside the office. She's the one that does all the show bookings and inputs the results from the shows after the reps send that and all that type of stuff. Aside from that, we have judges and reps who are also independent of me. The judges are not hired by me. They don't go through any process with me. They have to, submit resumes and meet criteria, and they go through, other background checks to make sure that they've met all the criteria and training and so on and so on. The same with the reps. None of these people report to me whatsoever. And they're all independent. I mean, they all are sanctioned by the ABKC, but when they're hired for shows, the show, they each have a set fee and the show host pays that to the judges and the reps independently. Internally, we have a couple of different panels. We have what we call an executive panel, which is comprised of executive staff, which is mainly senior judges and some of the people that I mentioned. And their job is to deal with a lot of the day-to-day problems and complaints and things like that. We have an internal breed club, which we always has, which is also comprised of the executive staff, but I'll get into that because that's about to expand. Uh-oh. 1 second.
Oh no.
Something happened on the computer here. So we're about to expand on that. Devin Ferrero and Alex Ferrero have stepped in, and they're going to head up the internal breed club. And it's something that we will open up for new members at some point. But like I've said to many people, the breed is still a pretty young in order for it to be outsourced outside of its internal registry. We're still very young. We're 20 years in, and the breed is definitely too young to go that far. We're still developing the breed, in all honesty. So, there's that. So, I mean, these are all these different things that go on in ABKC that have no relation to me whatsoever. I mean, I'm not really involved in a lot of what people think. I'm not really involved in all of the decisions. And
I'm loving it that you're kind of going through that, because there's two things that needed to be, spoke about there. One is, I don't think people realize just the full reach and how it's done internationally with ABKC, and just how big of a machine it is. And then in clarifying that, it's easier for people to understand that, ABKC is not Dave Wilson answering the phone in all these different countries and all these things like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna ask Dave. It's this, like you're the like this running out of your garage or something. It's like on one side of it, they have to know how huge it is, and then on the other end of it, people seem to act like it's all being run from your garage on your cell phone or something.
Oh yeah, no. You can go into any of these offices. The one in Fredericksburg. I mean, people come in all day long. I mean, there's nonstop traffic that comes in there all day long. So it's 100%. Definitely not that. I mean, the truth is ABKC needed a pretty face to be the face of it. And that's, I was hands down voted the most handsome, best looking in the bully world. So that's really how I got into the position.
I hate to see that.
That's
right.
And the more you know.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. It's I get the blame for everything. And sometimes I get the credit for a lot of things. And the truth is, a lot of that's not actually me. I mean, we really do have a team, and we really do have offices. And like those offices international, like, for instance, the office in Guatemala, they're in charge of booking all the shows and everything that goes down from like I said, from Mexico to Argentina, and all the registrations in those countries there. And they're involved in bringing in new reps and new judges and training reps and training judges. And so all of these things actually run independent than even the main office, so there's a lot to this registry that people don't realize. And it's truly an international registry. It's not like AKC is a huge registry, the oldest in America and the biggest, but it's not international, where we are actually truly an international registry with actual offices throughout the world.
I think that's the coolest thing about ABKC. Just the worldwide, having all these different sects in these different countries. I mean, it's awesome, man.
No, it is. And I think people also don't realize that we have, Candy just mentioned it, we have panels too. We have panels that vote on things. When there's a topic that's brought up, and it gets voted on. And like the Merle's the greatest topic to bring up, because it's been something that's had to been voted and re-voted on. It was voted at one point to remove for competition, then voted at another point to bring back for competition. And those are things that were brought to the public. We had public polls. I don't know if people saw everything, but we had public polls running for a long time, and the panel actually looks into the community polls to see which way they went, and they have discussions internally and votes internally. And
well, let me ask you this, Dave. If the community wants to get involved in things like that, where would be the best source, the best authentic source to get involved in those polls and things like that?
Off the ABKC site. That's where we ran the last polls. We ran it off the ABKC website and Facebook, the ABK's official ABKC Facebook. Not these groups. You have to be very careful on the internet, because there's a lot of groups out there that say it's like ABKC. There's the ABKC community. There's all these different ones, but there's only one true ABKC Facebook, and that's the official page.
And what does it say on that official? What's the?
I think it says American Bully Kennel Club /ABKC.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's the one that I actually tagged in the post for this live. So yeah, and that's because that's actually where you guys posted the forum asking last year for nationals, being like, hey, we're considering all these other sites, like of these other sites, like what are you thinking? Like where's y'all's heads at? Like you're checking the pulse. And it was a decision. Like Savannah was a decision that people.
Savannah was a decision. The Merle thing was a decision. Mm-hmm. These are active running polls that you could actually see the totals, and see how many were yes, how many were no. So, and another story I'll just throw out there is when in 2018 when we did the revision of the standard and we removed the extreme and then we added more flaws and DQs to the breed. It really was a tightening of the standard. Then when that vote came out and they voted to remove the Merle for exhibition, I voted against it, and I was actually outvoted in that. So there's a lot. And I was part of the panel at that time. I'm not on the panel at this time, but I was at that time. And I was actually outvoted. So it's not a Dave Wilson is the above all, see all. I mean, this thing is if something happens to me tomorrow, there's nothing going to change with ABKC because it runs independent of me, other than you won't be seeing my pretty face. But, other than that, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
And I think that again, like, as earlier stated, like there's a lot of finger pointing and thank you for being willing to clear that up, because it is a big confusion for people. They want a scapegoat. They want to be able to just be like, well, because Dave this, or because Dave said this, or won't do that. And it's like, it has nothing to do with you. Like it's a decision that has to be made by a multitude of different people who all have, varying, feelings and opinions, all based on experience. And like, you don't just, let people into these, committees and these panels for no reason. Like, these are experienced people. These are
experienced people that have been here for a long period of time, that are hands-on every single day. Because what you don't want is, you don't want to bring in new people that are either too young for it or fad chasing or whatever else. And I could get into breed clubs and my history of the breed club and why I don't fully support breed clubs. But you have to have panels and things like that. So, and internally, we do have a breed club, and we are going to open it a little bit more. And you will see shortly with, like I said, Devin Ferrero and Alex will be heading that up, and we'll continue on with some of the internal members, and then we're going to bring in a few new members. But they'll announce all that later. That'll be something that the public will be able to see and participate in, and go down later. But I will get into that at another time.
Yeah, it amazes me how people, they haven't thought it through very much at all. If they they haven't thought about the machine of ABKC. No. If they're thinking that way, but I'm glad that either way, some people can think and some people can't. So I'm glad we're clearing it up.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I know in the position I'm in, I know that it's a position that you have to have thick skin, and you have to be willing to accept responsibility, whether it's you or not you. It's just part of the job, and I'm fine with that. I mean, it's people can say what they want to say. It doesn't change me. It doesn't change my life, because we have a mission. We've had a mission from day one, and one thing I can say, that you got a lot of people that have come and gone, and all these people claiming first this, first that. And the thing is, we've never wavered from the mission. When we set out to make this breed, and we set out to legitimize this breed, and we set out to promote this breed, we've never wavered from that. From that day on, we have never, ever stopped working for this breed. And it's obvious. I mean, obvious when you travel the world and you can see this breed, that what we've done, it has worked. And we've truly been here for the community since day one. So a lot of these weird things you hear nowadays, and everybody, we're in a weird time, I think, because people are hurting. The dog business is not in its peak right now. There's a whole lot of reasons, but I will tell you, COVID is probably the biggest reason that we're in bad times with the dogs right now, because it was such an influx and so much money and so many people jumping in. You just have tons and tons of people who were never into dogs, people who
time and money,
and just everybody was into breeding, making money. And the thing is, now we're in the aftermath of that, and everybody's pointing fingers. It's this fault. It's this fault. Truth is, it's the fault of a financial influx into dogs during that COVID era that flooded all breeds, but especially the ours and the Frenchie, because those were two of the biggest breeds. And now you have the after effect of that, and we're dealing with that right now. And so ABKC is in a position where we're having to play cleanup, because, I mean, truth be told, the breed was just flooded with low quality dogs and poor quality dogs, and people that really should have never been breeding. But is what it is. It's just that's the phase we're in right now. So
man, absolutely. And Jenna said it. Jenna said it great. She said too many, breeders and not like too many breeders and not real breeders. And like we've actually said this as well, just the breed needed more advocates than it needed breeders. And and the problem is just like you said, in COVID, you had people that had money to spend and had time to spare.
Yes.
And instead of looking into the breed and really developing a love for it, they were just like, I know I can make money off of these dogs, and they don't really care what they produce. And so they're putting these dogs out there that are lesser quality, have lower qualities of life, lessened movement, and it's just, you're right, we're cleaning that up still, and it's just some of those folks haven't seen themselves out yet, and that also
and the other thing it didn't just do all that, it also created a new way of selling dogs that didn't require you to see the dog in person. That is horrible.
There we go.
Horrible.
Yes.
And that happened to come into time frame when all these new Photoshops and Photoshop, I know, you know what I mean, like all these things, and so it just like
all the
bamboozled in a lot of ways. People were really bamboozled. They were just buying anything offline because somebody's saying stud fee $10,000, puppies $15,000, and this and it's like, so it was like a pyramid scheme in essence, and it happened in all breeds, but it happened hard in our breed, because we were already one of these communities that was big on. We are a community born on social media, basically. This breed was created through social media. It truly was created through MSN boards and all that, and later on book, and so we are that community. So I mean, it was just the worst scenario for everything.
Wish the people that were smart enough at that opportune time to invest so much in marketing, and they sold all these trash dogs. I wish that they would have put that much effort into breed type.
And research.
But if you think about it, how can you tell somebody that you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, when they all are already selling their dogs for $10,000? They're not going to listen. And they weren't listening.
Exactly.
They don't care. They don't care. They're making money.
And why should they? And their defense, like, well, I'm here to make money. I'm making money, and the money was flowing, and it was flowing in that industry. So, what can you do? I mean, you just ride it out, and we rode it out, and now we're in a situation where there's thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of just poor quality dogs, and you see it everywhere you go, everywhere. And it's not a registry issue. It's not a true anyone issue. It's just an issue of that scenario that really just flooded the market with, sorry to say, but crap.
Do you feel like that's cleaning up now? Do you feel like the people that are hanging in there this far past COVID are back to trying to bring the breed to what it should be, and trying to weed some of that out and clean it up, to help people on y'all's end from the top down kind of clean this thing up?
To some degree, yes, but you have a funky division right now, and you have a division of people that are super hard on health testing and all of these things. Then you have this other side of the thing that are still successful breeders and still have a following and still can sell dogs in that realm is what they were. And they're going head to head with each other instead of working together with each other. And that's a problem right now, because we don't have that happy median in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, we came out with the premium pedigree, right? The whole let me get into that too, just real quick, just so people understand. Premium pedigree isn't the first time that we put certifications and health certifications and all these things on a pedigree. You've always been able to send in your health certifications and have those added to your pedigree, whether it was, for hips, heart, whatever the case is. It's always been there. It doesn't cost anything to add those certifications to your pedigree. Never has, and we've always offered that. But when we decided the premium pedigree, so let's come up with something that is kind of catchy, that would make people feel like, hey, I want to get that. And it's a step in that direction.
Incentivizing almost.
That's the happy median that's missing in the community, because people are, you're the one way or you're the other way. And the truth is, we all need to be conscious of health issues in this breed. The breed, it's here now. It's 20 years in. We finally got the type right and all these things right. But now we're in that other phase. Okay, now we really need to be looking internally into these dogs and figuring out. So we thought, okay, this is a catchy thing, and people are like, well, you're charging for it. We have to charge. If you want to add the certification pedigree, it doesn't cost a dime. But if you want that, we're looking for certain things in our breed that we found. We found that our breed is prone to a lot of heart issues. We found that our breed is prone to dysplasia, whether it's hips or elbows or both. And we've also found that there's a lot of people out there that aren't honest. So DNA is a very important thing as well. So we said, let's look at a couple of those serious issues in our breed, in our community, highlight those, and then you can get a special pedigree that's, it's its own pedigree. It's a true platinum. It's its own design.
Yeah.
That highlights those three things just to get that movement started, to make it like, I want to get this. But in actuality, people want this premium pedigree. But what it's really doing is it's a door opening up to really getting people to start to pay more attention to the health of their dogs and more attention to, being upright breeders and being honest and, all these things that we really need to see in our breed. So it was just something to get that ball rolling. And that's why we did it, and then you get people come on there hating on it. Like, I don't know why anybody is hating on it. It's not a money grab. It's not for any other reason. It's because it's our responsibility to try to figure out a median between these two sides and get people into wanting to do these types of things,
Oh,
I think it's
absolutely.
a notch in the belt as a breeder, man. It's something you'd be proud to have, completed and have, that you can show that, hey, we've had it, we've covered all these bases, we've checked all these boxes, and we have premium pedigree on our dogs. I mean, that's a badge of honor, and the way I see it, and putting it all together, I think, like you said, I think it's the future and a necessary move.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it is a step in a direction that, I mean, it's always been out there that, like, and you've said it a million times in every interview I've ever seen you in, where it's just like, you've always been about the health of the dog and to not jeopardize the health or the mobility of the dog to chase extremes and things like that, and to chase appearances and whatnot. And so I think that this really kind of puts it in writing, so they know that it's not just talking; it's walking.
Right.
And I commend you for that.
Yeah, you're directing where the breed needs to go, and that's amazing. With you being the president of the ABKC, like you said, you're not on the panel, but you're still directing where it goes. And you've said this every interview you had. Now you can tell an American Bully the type is there.
Mm-hmm.
You see an American Bully, you can differ it from an Amstaff, from a Pit Bull, whatever the case is. So now the type is there. So now the direction that you're taking it, which I agree with you, it's let's start really health testing. Let's make sure that the internal parts, because you have to have the casing of the breed before you can really, dive in further. So now you have the casing.
Yeah, the breed needed an identity. And that's another argument in the community. You got this, I don't know where this wave comes from right now, but there's a wave right now. And they're going back to how the breed started. But the truth is, the breed didn't start as an American Bully. The breed started as an American Pit Bull Terrier that went its own direction. Mm-hmm. And if you go back to those dogs are no different than American Pit Bull Terriers, because that's what they were in the beginning. They were American Pit Bull Terriers in the beginning. So you needed a period where the breed could develop and create its own identity. So you get a lot of people look back in the old days and say, yeah, but that was, you all had this, you all had this. Yes, but we were still APDs at the time. We were still UKC registered at that time. We were transitioning, and it took a long time. It took first writing standards to explain what the breed was going to be, because the breed wasn't there. Like, you didn't have a new breed in the beginning. You were going to create a new breed. Yeah, that was the whole purpose of the community, body and edge and all these things coming together. But it took time to develop that look, and that's not an overnight thing. And we needed to be able to have a look that distinguished us or differentiated us from the American Pit Bull Terrier, and that took time to do. And that's what's the most important in the beginning, was getting an identity for this breed, that you could look at this breed and say, this is not a Pit Bull, this is not an Amstaff, this is not a Bulldog.
It's been done, brother. It's been done. I tell you. I think it's the coolest looking dog on earth. American Bully is no longer mistaken for Pit Bulls. When you see one, riding shotgun in somebody's truck going down, and you catch them at a red light, they're like, man, is that a big Pit Bull? Or like,
what is
no,
that?
It's a bull.
I want that.
Got its own look.
Yeah,
its own
that's what it
type.
is.
It's very clearly its own breed, and I love the direction it's gone.
The neat thing is,
before you make that comment, I got to plug this in real fast. Let me just plug this in.
Go ahead.
Somebody got to talk for 1 second.
Go ahead.
I can.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Well, so and one thing that I kind of liken this to is when you look at the history of the bull terrier. Bull terriers, I don't know if you have seen what they look like anywhere from 80 to 100 years ago. Nothing like this. In fact, they look like any run-of-the-mill fucking terrier. Just white terrier, lanky,
Totally different looking skull and everything.
Totally different dog. Like it looked like any run-of-the-mill white terrier. Now, fast forward to the shift, right? They, through hyper strategic breeding, they created that skull structure, right? Very selective. And now it can easily be distinguished, right? There are so many other breeds where that became the case. Dachshunds didn't used to be as long. Pugs didn't used to have, that more bulky, body type. They actually used to be tall and lanky, almost like a Boston. Like there's so many breeds that if literally people hadn't stepped in to create the traits and to perpetuate those traits that would differentiate them from similar breeds, you wouldn't be able to tell the type. So again, bull terriers are a great example of that. You can sit there and be like, well, I miss the old school bull terriers. I'm like, well, you could never tell them apart from any other breed. So why would you want to go back to that? They're so
well, what it is with the American Bully is they're so tied to the streets, to the neighborhoods, to all different ethnicities. They're so tied internationally that, people just have a lot to say about our breed. It seems like nobody's complaining about the Dachshund getting longer or the bull terrier's face, having its own shape and the modifications over the last 100 years. But with the American Bully, everybody seems to have something to say. And I don't know what it is about that. I guess because there's so much talk, so much hype about the dogs, such a craze for them.
I think it's
a very, very popular breed. It was popular.
I mean, people don't talk about the German Shepherd. The German Shepherd has gone through so many changes over the years. It was a working breed in the beginning, and this is done through the hands of AKC. Nobody else. It was a working breed in the beginning. Now they want this dog to be like this, so the rear end of the dog sets that much lower than the front end.
Yeah,
and that's why the breed is plagued with dysplasia now. Plagued with it because you've now created a dog based on that's 100%. Aesthetics, that they weren't looking for it. This is not a working build. You know what I mean? It's not
functional, right?
No, it's not
wild to go to Germany and see a real German, like a German Shepherd dog in Germany and being like, they don't do that. And it's the craziest thing. You almost don't recognize them.
But that was ruined by the AKC here in America. And it's because the breeders were going for solely the visuals. Now, I know they can argue that with our breed, but our breed is a visual breed. Our breed is a companion breed. Their breed is a working breed. So we're talking about a working breed that's been bred that. Or the English Bulldog. If you read that standard, that breed has been modified from its origins so many times. When I first started learning about the EB, I was like, this doesn't even make sense. How the front's supposed to move different than the back. It's like so many things that just make no sense whatsoever. And it's like all the flaws in our breed, they want it in the breed. And now they're having a huge issue because the Kennel Club, the KC out of England, who's the original kennel club in the world, long before AKC, FCI, any of that stuff, they now want to revert back to dogs that are healthier and built better. So they want to take that breed back generations to when it was a healthier, more of a working style dog. And now that breed is ruined in AKC. So it kills me sometimes that people point the fingers at us all the time and they think these things are the higher things and higher entities. It is not true. These things are just old and they're monopolies and they've done more damage to breeds than anybody else has ever done to any breed. And we just named two right off the bat that are completely destroyed, So
and
you're absolutely right. I think Amanda hit it though. It's because of the popularity of the bully, man. When you become Michael Jordan, everybody's trying to take you from being the GOAT, and it's like the bully is it's the coolest dog on earth to me, man. I've always been a fan of so many different breeds, and I started with pit bulls like you, and when I got to the bully, I realized what the big deal was. Like they're just different. The way they move, the way they act, the way they look, they're their own thing, and there's so much talk about them that you got haters everywhere, and that's just part of it, I guess.
What you said a while ago.
We created a companion breed, right?
Yeah.
Let's be straight up honest. 90% of all dog breeds, 90% of all dogs that people have are pets. the majority, I mean, yes, we have people that get into dogs for working purposes and other purposes, but when we're talking the majority of dogs around the world, their purpose is a pet. So why are so many breeds that are created for actual tasks becoming the pets? And there's never actual breeds created just to be a pet. So when people get upset, they're like, well, what's the purpose in your breed? The purpose in our breed is to be a pet. We've bred a breed that is the ultimate companion, that's in love with its owners, that'll do what your owners do. You know what I mean? It's like the ultimate companion. That's the purpose of it. So we were never trying to be a working breed or any of these things. We have the pit bull for that, you know, or the Amstaff, even though it's not really a working breed anymore. But so it's like we created a breed because most dogs are pets. So we created a breed that's job is to be a pet. You know,
well, I love that. And the thing is, I mean, even in the breed standard, temperament is part of breed type. Like that's what's crazy. And so, I mean, it speaks volumes. I mean, extremely friendly is
the only time extreme's used,
correct? Actually mentioned in the breed standards, extremely friendly. So it's like, it's just crazy. Like, yeah, it's a companion breed. Even in any of the, you know, all breed registries that it does ultimately show in, it's in the companion, you know, category.
Right.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah,
exactly. But I'm here tonight, so anything y'all want to get into, because it's been a fun month.
Yeah.
So.
Hey Dave, what I like what you said. You said this earlier. You said that this breed was really built off social media, you know, MSN boards, Facebook, things like that. Man, it's really a double-edged sword because the popularity grows, but also there's a lot of negativity on Facebook and, you know, social media and things like that, because a lot of people are just negative and they're looking for something so they can, you know, constantly watch and jab. And you wear that hat very, very well. You know, how you're talking about earlier, you know, you being the president, but again, you not making the ultimate decisions on things. Literally, you built a panel that you trust that are doing these things. But again, for you to do this, and it's crazy that you have to deal with so much negativity on Facebook, just constantly. But man, I want
social media is just negative in general.
It is
Worse and worse. I mean, it's just
the nature of the beast, man. You know, people hide behind a keyboard. So
I listened to some celebrity the other day, and they're like on one of the shows, like, I don't even go on, I just post and ghost. And I was like, oh, that's a damn good way to be, post and ghost. You know what I mean? Say what you want, get out of there and read none
That's
of
the first
comments.
time I've heard that. That's brilliant.
That's funny. Post and ghost.
Post and ghost.
Oh my
I don't think posting and ghosting is a bad thing.
Nah, because, you know, you get your point out there, what you want to say, then ignore the rest, because 90% of it these days is going to be negative.
I'm just going to post something that's infuriating and then just bounce and let y'all simmer in it. You know, it's crazy. Now, I did have somebody ask just moments ago while we were talking about the premium pedigrees. I want to say it was Miss Bonnie had asked if, like, are you going to create possibly any partnerships with any organization that's going to be doing any kind of like more health testing or anything like that, especially like at shows, or if that's going to be something that's going to be on the show hosts, or how do you think that would ultimately kind of pan out?
Well, one thing we're doing right now is we do all of our DNA testing through the DDC. In America, DDC is the largest DNA company. We are now working with DDC to do a lot of breed specific testing, a lot of internal testing, kind of like everything that you can get from what's the one everybody uses?
Embark.
Embark. We're working on that, but specifically for the American Bully, and we're developing that with the DDC. So that'll be something we'll probably release at the beginning of 2027. And they're going to have a full panel of everything that you want to know about the American Bully and in your dog's genetics. And that I'm hoping we'll release it at the end of the year. But yeah, we're working with DDC on that. As far as health testing, I mean, like we're dealing with hips, you know, we're doing hip testing. We do accept the OFA. We do accept pin hip, you know. There's a bunch of different cardiac companies and places that we work with, because think about it, we are global and not everything is global. So you're going to have to work with other entities as well that don't exist in America and vice versa. As far
let me ask you this, Dave, you're gonna go beyond the American Bully with that? With the DDC, are y'all gonna like first map out for us and then maybe to other breeds in the registry, or are y'all just gonna stick to the American Bully?
So here's the thing. Even though we accept other breeds, we are not the house registry for the other breeds. We are just a hosting registry. So we don't create other breeds. We don't do a lot of things for the other breeds. Where all those other breeds have their house registry, all of them.
Okay.
And that at our point at this moment is we will give them a place to show, and we will, allow registration, but we're not the entity that's the house registry for them. So I think those things need to happen via those registries. And if these breeds get bigger within ABKC and it calls for that, then yes, we can move on to that with the DDC as well. But at the moment, our focus on these things is the American Bully, because we are the house registry for the American Bully.
So is the DDC, are they going to change up some things that they've done before, like do a little differently for y'all with this ordeal here?
Yes.
Go into it a little further and things like that, because I know they had like, I don't want to say the wrong numbers, but I know at one time, they checked like 200 things versus Embark's 10,000 or whatever like that, and I know that they can add to that, and I'm sure they've added to that since the last time I heard those numbers years ago. But
100% what you're saying, and that's why we're working with them, because
Right.
they want to extend their DNA testing and all the genetic testing inside of DDC for the American Bully. So yes, that's doing it. I mean, they were also the one that realized that we can no longer in our breed test on a 7 LEL DNA test, because our dogs tend to be closely related in a lot of ways, and they've developed a 14 LEL test just for the American Bully, so
Right.
that so they are learning a lot about our breed, and we're working closely with them. So yes, we're going to extend to pretty much everything you see in Embark, you'll see through the DDC that's related to the American Bully.
I'm so glad
Gotcha.
you cleared that up, man, because with all the other stuff that I do, I don't want to say that I'm just a huge fan of Embark necessarily. I'm just a huge fan of the tool of genetic testing.
The flashlight in the dark.
And the reason why I've worked with it as opposed to the DDC, and when I looked into the DDC, that was something that, anyway, I'm just glad you cleared that up, because that's I think anybody that's already pretty knowledgeable in genetic testing that would be their first question. So I'm glad we touched
And the
on that.
reason I'm not working with Embark on all this, we do accept Embark for a lot of things, not everything. We don't accept the breed test from Embark because it's not accurate. But the problem I have with Embark is they didn't work directly with a registry. They didn't work directly with breeders and proof of breed. So the dogs that they used for their database, for their the pool and everything, there was no way to know they were truly American Bullies. So
Right.
that's why their breed test is not accurate, because they didn't have any way to verify dogs that were entering as American Bullies were actually American Bullies. So that's a big issue. And the fact that they still can't come up with a pit bull test tells you that that American Bully one isn't accurate. So
Well, absolutely.
Well, that just speaks to, like you said, it speaks to the fact that they're not getting with the right people to get that information to make that test more accurate.
100%. And I'm not saying that everything they're doing is inaccurate. I'm just saying that
That
I don't
aspect.
trust everything, because they didn't really verify the dogs that they used to build this, base of what the breed was.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and actually, like it's crazy, and I mean, there's screenshots of it, but like, and I don't know if that information is still up, but at one point, the list of breeds that they felt made up the American Bully, the Embark, included everything down to like a Neapolitan Mastiff. Like they thought,
Except it did include pit bull. That's the craziest thing.
It was like,
How do you have a DNA test on a breed that the majority of its ancestry doesn't appear in the test? It makes no sense.
It does, man.
it is one of those things where it's just like, if someone says, well, my Embark said 100% American Bully, I'm like, well, is that the box you checked? Like when you actually sent the paperwork
That's
in?
the problem. That's how they verified it. That was their version of verification. Check what breed you have. That's it.
You think they did that to try to keep everybody's hands out of it? Like they didn't want to attach themselves to any registry or anything at all. It looks like that's what they did. Like they didn't want to do business with anybody. They wanted to be their own separate
like
entity.
a money grab to me. It really did.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense not to go with the home registry.
I got somebody that called the other day, and they were like, one of my dogs is 100% American. It's an American Bully, but its genetic testing came back 100% American Staffordshire Terrier. And I'm looking at the pedigree, and I know the dog's in the pedigree, the back. And there's no way it didn't come up American Pit Bull Terrier. You can't. Your dog isn't truly, even though Amstaff came from Pit Bull, You know what I mean? There's been a significant period of time between the two breeds, but they don't have pit bull in their genetic testing, so it can't be accurate, you know.
No.
Right.
No.
And they'll sit there and they'll put in there. I mean, I've seen ones where it'll have like a certain percentage, because they'll have a little, little pie chart, and they'll be like, it's like certain percentage of, American Staffordshire Terrier, or a certain percentage of English Bulldog. And then and then they'll have pit bull on there. And I'm like, I don't think you know what that, like, okay, but you know what? That's fine. It's you do you, but it's one of those things where if you just go ahead and you check the box, like American Bully, they're going to send you paperwork that says American Bully on it 9 times out of 10. There's a few small instances where that's not the case, but more often than not, they're just going to be like, you sure do. Now here's all the other stuff. Like,
well, I'm glad to hear y'all are working with DDC on that, because I use embark tests. Everything in my yard is embark tested, but the reason is because there's tools within what they offer that I use. But I'm having to discredit the weight, discredit, like you said, the actual breed makeup. There's things that we have to like overlook to be able to use what we can use. So when y'all map something out with DDC and it's more tailored to the American Bully, that's going to be a big deal, man. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and by all means, we'll look for input too. So if you want to suggest things later on, we think we got it all covered, but we're definitely looking for input from breeders to find out what they would like to see, because right now it is DDC that is developing it right now. So with us, solely us and DDC.
I would love to talk to you about that later, man. Maybe see what all what kind of path they're on, because I've spent a lot of time there looking into all that, and definitely want to make sure that certain things don't get left behind in that switch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like these percentages go, like obviously, again, this breed's 20 years in. A little bit more, obviously, if you include some of the developmental time, previous to the establishment of the ABKC itself. But are there certain percentages, or there are certain breeds that if you find that on your genetic testing, when it comes back, are you like, no?
It's difficult, because in order to really develop the American Bully, it's going to take time to do it the right way. The genetic testing is what I'm referring to. And it's difficult because if you can find something that's in the front of a pedigree, then then we need to do something. But if you find something that's 15 generations back, that could be prior to its origin, and that's just part of its genetic makeup in the stud books and the brood stock and things like that. And those things you don't touch, because those were what was brought in the beginning when the breed started to be created. So it's difficult. It's a really difficult thing, and the hardest thing is you're in a world where there's a lot of liars and cheaters and things. It's a never-ending battle. And you're never going to win all of them. You can't always stop everybody from everything. And it's difficult because
legislate morality.
And it's the thing is, like, so it shows a 10% of this or a 6% of this, but when, how do you know how far that is in a pedigree? And that's where it becomes different, because it very well could be. I mean, we all know that some of the lineage behind the XL is a little bit different than some of the original lineage behind the standard in the pocket. Basically it's the same, but breeders use different things in the early days to make their dogs before
to get the mass right.
I'm referring to pre-American Bully, and we don't know that, so it's you just don't know.
Yeah, they brought in another gene pool for the mass.
Yeah, or the height. Yeah, I think it's for the height, but yeah,
Yeah,
Alex, the height to you.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, the XLs. That were coming out of like California when it dealt with like the butt headline, and oh god, there's a bunch of them at that moment in time. I just remember that the bigger one, but those dogs were known to have had some type of mastiff ancestry behind them, small amounts, but it was known that that's what was in those dogs. Yeah. And fast forward 25 years from now, that's still going to pop up in their DNA somewhere, but it doesn't mean that it's a mixed breed. That means that it was something in its origin before the breed was even created. So, and all breeds have that in their creation. When you really deal with new breeds, almost all new breeds are going to have some element of something other than just one breed in it to have created a new breed.
It has to, yeah.
And that's the thing in the American Bully. Like, we know where some of these things came in pre-American Bully, but it was part of whatever those breeders were doing. It was part of what these breeders, and that's why all these years I've spoken for Razor's Edge, because I can tell you Razor's Edge. I can vouch for Razor's Edge. That's my project. I know what Razor's Edge is. I know what I brought into the table, but I can't tell you the other guy's story. One, it's because it's not my story. Two, I wasn't there, so I'm just going on hearsay myself. So it's speculation on my end, even though you can look at stuff and know where it came from. But yeah, like somebody just put this dog here at 5150. Those dog 5150 was a half bulldog. There's a guy in California named June. June was the one that created Butthead. And when first time I went to meet June, my old partner Cruz brought us there, and Deanna was with him. And June said, "Hey, when I started breeding these dogs, I was using Kanye Corso Bulldog because I was making big blue pit bulls, and that's what we wanted in California. Other things stem from that later on, but that's not Razor's Edge. It's not the history of Razor's Edge. It's the history of some of these other lines, like what Bruce Long just said. I mean, he's actually whoever Bruce Long Jr. is. You know exactly what you're talking about, bringing that dog up. But anyway,
I love that what Alex he said. A tool is only as good if the tool, if it's the right tool for the job. And Embark had my dogs going back to wild dogs in South Africa.
I read that.
There you go.
Oh my God, I love Alex.
Now we all know, Alex, you've been dealing with them South African wild dogs. No wonder your stuff has a little different. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I think just the relationship that they'd agreed to have with y'all, to work with y'all to build this thing. I think that's where it starts right there. You could I guess you could go back to the main lines of, established bully blood and start there and bring those in, and then everything that goes down from there would be a part of that pedigree, a part of that line. And so, if the genetic tests, if you incorporated all those different bloods, then that would cover all the bases of the breed, and then it would be able to be, referenced at that point.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, and by the way, Dave, that Bruce that's in the comments.
I already figured it out. I've already figured it out.
We're just talking to him.
I didn't know he had this long, expensive name here, Bruce Long Jr. the third.
It was all
He may not be able to be on camera, but
I just found out tonight he's a pimp. So I didn't know all this stuff before.
Yeah, the pimp walk, the Corvette.
Yeah, he got his pimp walk, get out the caddy, not the caddy, Corvette. But yeah, I'm learning about. Sorry, Uncle.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Yeah, when he was on the screen, he was Uncle Bruce, and now it's Bruce.
Hey, he flipped up on me. He went all government on me right now. I didn't know.
You've never seen Bruce Lang and Unc in the same place at the same time.
So let's talk about
the Rock with
nationals a little
Dwayne
bit.
Johnson.
Let's talk about nationals a little bit. What do we got locked in? What's the plan? Where are we going with that?
We're going back to Texas. I love Savannah, but I'm telling you, Savannah broke me, man. I had to pay $100,000 for the venue. It was unbelievable. Man.
That was a nice venue.
Damn. A beautiful place, but it's just not. I mean, we already know nationals is not something ABKC makes money on. We try to overdo it. We try to do things as big as possible, give a great stage for everybody, give that premiere show at the end of the year. We always lose money, but it's an investment in the community, so it's worth it. But that's a pretty big financial hit for that one. But I mean, we will go back to Savannah one day. But it is time. I told you we're going to keep rotating Houston somewhere else. So we're going back to Houston.
Nice.
I love it in Houston, man. I'm from Houston, so that's home to me, and I love that setup there. That venue there is beautiful. It's a huge building.
Arkansas boy. What?
Well, I was born in Houston, so
that
venue's huge.
Us, they love us.
Is.
They love ABKC. They love nationals. We have all the vendors there. We have two international.
And it's perfectly located in downtown. Right. It's easy to get in and out of there.
And there's no problem. Like you know, when you're dealing with dog shows and things, you have to worry. There's a lot of places that cancel on you and things occur. Houston has our back. They have the American Bullies back. They have ABKC's back. And it's just a comfortable, easy place to go. So we don't want to ever give it up. It turns out a good crowd. So we will be in Houston. Unfortunately, we'll be at the opposite end of where we normally are.
Okay.
We normally, I know it's going to be a long walk to Papa
It'd
Do's.
be a different hall, huh? Oh, dang. In reference to like Papa Do's, where is it?
I'm getting a scooter. You're gonna see me ride on my little scooter, get my little swamp thing, and ride it back to the other side. Yeah, that's a lot of walking. Yeah, we're on the opposite end this year. Yeah,
They're gonna have internet memes with Dave on the e-scooter down there.
Don't mind me. I'm just going to get my swamp thing from Papa Do's, and I'm headed back. So yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how far is it to Papa Do's? We know that this is an important factor. No, I mean, just like you said, the venue is great, and the way that the staff, they really just accommodate. So, it's a great place. So I'm looking forward to having it.
It's a great place, and Regina is on here right now. I see her. Y'all gotta give her the props. Regina runs nationals. That's her event.
That's awesome.
Hall A, yes. So yeah, but now Regina actually runs nationals. That's her. Yeah,
she puts on a hell of a
she does all the work. I get all the credit. She does all the work as always.
Y'all released a theme for this one yet?
That was too much at once. I couldn't hear you.
Have y'all released a theme for this one yet?
Now we're gonna put it up. That's gonna be the next vote. That's gonna be a pure
next vote. Everybody like. Yeah. So what are some options? Do you know what?
I don't even know. I mean, we ran through so many themes. I don't even know what to do. We still haven't done ugly Christmas sweater theme yet, but
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
Caleb, you're up.
Yeah,
hey, I got a good one. I got a hell of an ugly Christmas sweater.
You got it. Maybe that's a good one, boy. We'll put that up as one of the options. So yeah, we'll figure that out.
There we go.
That'll be something fun to do soon. We'll start releasing information in the very near future, and then we'll get that vote going. So there's some diehards every year that definitely come to to the theme. So and I'm always there for the theme too. So we'll do it.
Oh hell
yeah! I like that. I like that you open that up to the community. I like that you open that up, and also the where it's going to be, the location. So every other year, it's going to be at a location of the community's choosing, correct? And then every other year is going to be at Houston, which is the one we were just talking about.
Right.
Okay.
No, that's cool, man.
The plan. I mean, the community doesn't always pick somewhere that's possible, so we got to be careful. The thing about nationals is you need to have a local community there that has enough dogs to fill up the building. You know what I mean? Like if it's somewhere where there's no community, it's kind of a waste. We did the first one was in Detroit, and at that moment in time, there weren't any dogs there. So that was just everything. The team had to fly in.
You
gotta
have an absolute backbone in that community, and you truly do. There's so many people in the Houston area that have some really really great dogs, and even in just in a general sense, like outside of the valley and into Central Texas. So it's a great spot, and and it's just one of those things where it kind of becomes home. Like Mary Scribner and I, we have a tradition. Like we stay at a similar place every single time. We go to the meet and greet, which hopefully Tone will be able to put that on again. We love going to his meet and greet on Friday at the park, but it just becomes this thing where we have a routine. And nationals.
Well, Mary's kind of greedy with you at nationals. She needs to share you a little bit. Y'all need to come. We need to all go out a little bit, just a little bit.
I know.
Who?
You and I don't get to see each other very often. So like when we do, man, it's one of those things where she's just like, no, I want to spend time with my friend, and I'm like, I do too. So but no, it's just one of those things that we've always really liked about nationals in a general sense, and this could be at Savannah, Detroit, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, obviously this year, is that there's always something new at every single national, some sort of showcase. Dave, do you have any kind of insights into anything that's kind of going to be new this year, or
we're expecting a lot more of the Brazilian bulls to turn out, but something new we haven't. It's a little premature right now. We'll figure out something. We will. Every year it's a debate on whatever it is. So, but it always works out great anyway. So we'll figure it out. We'll have some things that we'll release before then.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
And talk about the Datsuns.
Oh my God, the Datsuns.
That was a pleasant surprise. I won't lie. That was cool to see the Datsuns there. I enjoyed that.
It was a 50-50. Well, number one is a nice dachshund, but it was a 50-50. Half the people loved it. In fact, when I was going around the ring that day, people were like, "No, the dachshund got it." But then you go on Facebook, it's like, "Why do you have a dachshund there?" I was like, "Oh my."
Everybody there was just like, "Look at him, just look at that."
I enjoyed the dog, man. I did.
Now that little dachshund was cool. They moved around and got him after that. So But
And
the thing
they
is,
traveled from where? I mean, it was like they came from Europe, didn't they?
yeah, they came from Holland. No,
That's
Belgium.
what I love to
Well,
see,
you're
man.
traveling
I love to
sausage.
see people coming in from other countries. That's
Mhm.
what I get the most excited
Yeah,
about.
that's
seeing just,
nationals, and you see that last year was a dog from overseas.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
dog that won last year was
absolutely.
the dog was produced in Russia, and the people that own it are from
They made
Denmark,
that
and the
different.
handler was from Spain. So you
Yep.
know that was
Yeah.
a 100%
I,
European
Wow.
dog. You know,
I
It was
love
on the
that dog, and
international
I had
thing.
never seen him before nationals. You
Mhm.
know,
I
because he
remember.
was
I remember getting there, and I was walking around, and I saw Hannah with him. And she was just kind of having fun with him, stacking him and getting him to focus and everything. And I just remember walking past and be like, that dog's going to be a freaking problem. I've never seen this dog a day in my life, and that dog's going to be a freaking problem. Everybody better bring their A game. And then to watch him in the ring and be like, how did we not see this coming? Like, what?
yeah. He came out of nowhere, and
Came out of nowhere.
yeah.
he was sweeping Europe before that though. And he's
Mhm.
even
Yeah.
this weekend I saw a video of him out of Romania, and he's looking good.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but there's some good looking dogs coming. There's some dogs I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to see this year. And just to
Yeah.
let people know, the dachshund has been in ABKC. They've been showing them in Colombia for a long time in ABKC.
Yeah.
The thing
Really?
about it is we are a multi-breed registry as far as offering up the platform for showing. We're the home of the American Bully, and that's the way we're always going to be. But when you put the dogs in the big stage, you want your breed to be able to show off against other breeds. And
Yeah.
I think it's it just doesn't make sense to not allow other breeds to compete at our shows. It just doesn't make sense, you know.
I agree, man.
I like to
I
see
agree
our
with that.
fan and compete against other breeds. To know the quality of your breed, you have to see it
Yeah.
go against other breeds, and that's
Yeah,
just what it is. So
absolutely.
it's like we're not out there trying to be AKC or FCI or any of that stuff, but we have a lot of people in our community that have other breeds. Not to mention the type of events that we have are different, you know. And there's a lot of people, especially the younger generation, that isn't comfortable with AKC, isn't comfortable with FCI. They don't want
Yeah.
that atmosphere. They
It's a
want
lot
our
of busy
atmosphere.
work.
So, you know, and they have great dogs, so we allow that, you know. And it's not like we just throw them up and that you can show them. No, I mean, before we do that, first we have to have the standards up. The
Yeah.
judges have to be trained on the breeds. I mean, it's not like you just throw them in the ring. It's like, okay, here you go, judge it. No,
Yeah, they're just like, oh God, I
No.
wish I knew what dachshunds are supposed to look like. You know, no,
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a lot of misconceptions. I'm telling you, this is the year of misconceptions and false information. It's crazy.
it does
Man.
feel like there's been a lot this year, and I don't, you know, while I don't know like what has caused it per se, but the fact that you are willing to be so transparent and to be so forthcoming, getting out and actually voicing, the facts about it, the background behind it, and making sure that you're clarifying, these confusions, because again, just like we said earlier, people like to blame you for everything when in all reality, it's just like there's such a larger, group of people that are making decisions, but they're voting. And so some people, their vote doesn't, win. And so it's a big deal to know that it's not just one guy that they can just really more easily point a finger at and just be like, it's Dave's fault.
Yeah, but I do know what's causing it, just so you know. The
Caleb's?
one thing that's causing it is the lack of financial investments in this breed right now. I mean, it's just the money's not there right now. Breeders are having a hard time selling dogs. Registries are having a hard time filling shows. It's just got really cutthroat. And the other thing is, like I said before, I'm not a guy that's not about unity, because it's unity that created all of this. But I also, and I know a lot of you all go other ways and do other things, but I just personally feel that the breed is way too young to start pushing it into so many different directions. So many registries break off with their own versions of it and their own shows and all these things. Then you got breed clubs that are trying to take it other registries that really don't have any business being in it. It's too many directions on a breed too young in a time when the finances aren't even there either. So it's a perfect storm of just going too many ways and just, spreading it so thin. And that's the problem.
That's exactly what it
It's
is.
so thin, yeah. I mean, Dan, we didn't even finish making the pie and they already started divvying it out, So
Yeah.
what are you gonna
Yeah.
do? The pie's not completely finished.
That's a good analogy.
Divvying it out, then what's left? Nothing. And that's what
Yeah.
they're all experiencing right now. They're all experiencing. They're all pointing the fingers, and now they all want to be the top one. So the way to be the top one is let's go to the top one and try to discredit it And let's go to the guy and try to discredit him from every angle we can discredit him. And the truth is, I don't even care about Dave Wilson. I don't even care about Razor's Edge. Like I had to give my own passion up. If you know the true story of ABKC, I had to give my own passion up. I didn't want to, and I had to for the community. So I don't even do the things that I like to do because I've had to dedicate so much time to doing this, which I love too. But it just kills me sometimes when I see all these accusations. I'm like, you don't even realize like what I gave up to do all of these things. Like I could go back to being a breeder and, and I love that. I love creation, but I can't really because it's number one, too political. Number two, I just don't have the time for it doing all these other things.
I do have a question, and this is again, it stems from there's been a lot of confusion lately as to the history of the ABKC. I was wondering if you wanted to kind of give us at least a little bit of a summary of like when this whole thing started, because I mean,
I can 100% do that, and I'll try to run through it as fast as possible, and I'll include everything. So I have nothing to hide. I really don't care. That's wrong. So anyway, I had no issues in UKC. I showed for UKC for many years, did very well. Pre-Gotti and all these other lines, Razor's Edge existed then. The UKC was the home. If I tell the story or whenever we get into the story of Razor's Edge, it goes deeper than that. I actually didn't even plan to go UKC. My whole goal in the beginning was AKC only, Amstaff only. But another story whenever you want to get into that. So anyway, I showed UKC, did very well in UKC, had no issues. And my line grew in UKC. It was American Pit Bull Terrier line. Razor's Edge was an American Pit Bull Terrier line. And we did very well. But then what started happening is the UKC has a breed club, which is called the National American Pit Bull Terrier Association, right? And that breed club changed year to year, the panel. Every year, it would change to new breeders, new people.
Every year?
The year that I'm specific, Beth Jones, she's a breeder out of Massachusetts or somewhere up there. Anyway, she was the president that year, and they had this vote, and in the vote, they changed the standard, that they changed the style of dog in the standard. It would be like saying, if we only had the standard American Bully, and now we said, we're getting rid of this, and we're only going to have Classic now. And now we're introducing you to Classic. That's basically what that standard change did. And it didn't just affect Razor's Edge. It affected me because at that point, I had built a following. I had buyers all over the United States. I had, we were competitors on both sides of the coast, but it affected other big breeders. Like you have Pam Carter. Pam Carter had Gaff Kennels. Gaff Kennels, way older than Razor's Edge. I mean, she was one of my mentors, and a good friend of mine. And she had a great program that preceded my program by 20, 30 years, and I've been 30 some years now of my thing. And this is, so she was in a long time. She completely abandoned. At that point, she said, I'm not going UKC, I'm going AKC. So she completely abandoned a bloodline of 30 years. Gaff was one of the most famous bloodlines in the American Pit Bull Terrier, started over and went AKC. And then when she went AKC, she had to start with Sierra blood. She actually got a dog from me, a Razor's Edge dog. She got some stuff from Pam Purdue in Virginia. And she created a new line and went on to AKC. But that's directly because UKC changed, You had Cheryl Lorem. Lorem was a big breeder on the West Coast, and she had big bully dogs, And even her, I don't know if she actually left or she just changed her program because I gave up. I said, I'm not going to stay in this, So that's kind of how that went for a lot of breeders. Had nothing to do with the American Bully, and the stories of going to shows later on and people being excluded and discrimination and all those things what kind of started the bully world, but what I'm referring to is pre all those things anyway. So for a long period of time, we did nothing. I had shows at my house all the time. If you had come to Dave Wilson's house back in those days, there was cars lined up down the road. I mean, I literally had events at my house all the time, gathering shows. Cool. Then people started doing things like, we had Byron did a meet and greet in Texas. We all came out and just started doing that. Larry Duran started doing us Blue Nation, some events over in California. We started going to those events. So all these things started happening where we started having these events, these barbecues, these fun shows, basically. Yeah. And, it's two different communities. Together, we were on this the Elite Edge MSN board. And we kind of all came together. Edge guys didn't breed with the Gotti guys and vice versa because we didn't see our dogs truly as the same.
Yeah.
I really stuck to my UKC, American Pit Terrier show dog. Those weren't show dogs, and they were more California-based dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But we all interacted as one community, and it just kept going around and around and around. And then you started to get more professional. And then finally, on the Elite Edge board, we started talking like, we got to do something. We have to go our own direction. We have to create something. There's just too much going on. We have too big a community. So we put a vote up, and we voted for a breed name. And all these names came, and eventually we boiled it down to American Bully. And for a lot of reasons, but that's how it went. And there was a vote, a public vote on the MSN Elite Edge MSN board where everybody was, and we voted for the American Bully. So fast forward a little bit, we realized we need a register. Oh, shoot.
Right.
Hold on. I don't know what this is. Something pops up on this computer. We needed to do something bigger. So a couple of us guys got together in the Elite Edge, and we started discussing it. And it was mainly me and Lou Manipon, who's one of the judges, judges right now. We got to go. Let's write a standard. So we wrote a standard for the American Bully. Then we formulated the ABKC. We went and registered the ABKC as a business in 2004. And then Lou's job at that point was he started to go around registering everybody's dogs, bringing in the brood stock for what was going to be the American Bully.
Gotcha.
And it was mainly Elite Edge members, and Richard Barajas from Gotti Line agreed to do that. Later on, Ed Shepard, we'll talk about that, but later on, Ed Shepard. So we started doing all that, going around and did that. Then I get a call from Rodney Bingley, who's New Trojan Kennels. Monster G was his famous dog. Mm-hmm. And he's like, hey, you guys are doing that, but Larry, who's been doing the Blue Nation shows, he's also now starting a registry. Maybe you guys should get together and talk. So, he started then the BKC. We had ABKC. So we got together and we had some talks. We even did a show together. Didn't work out. Just two different ideas. Just, my idea and their idea was different. And some things happened I don't want to get into, but I just said, no, we're not doing that. And we went our own way. We still supported each other. I went to his shows. Our guys went to his shows. He went to our shows. But we started to really grow because we really started pushing this breed hard, and going around the world. That thing ended up folding. This thing ended up really growing. The first year it was here out of Virginia in 2004, and it was run by Lou, and the guy that owns Bullypedia now ran. It was his brother, Roman, that actually built the database for ABKC. Long story short, it just wasn't working out, and we decided to take it to California. We put two other guys in charge of it. I did not want to be the president of ABKC. I created it, but I didn't want to be the president. I didn't want to work it. I asked Deanna, she said, I don't want to do it. That's a lot of work. I was like, I still want to breed dogs. I was in a phase of Razor's Edge at that point in time where we were transitioning from American Pit Terrier to what would become the American Bully. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do it. So we put it in the hands of two brothers called Adrian and Alfredo Cancino. And they ran it for like 2 years, but they weren't doing they were taking money, but not registering the dogs. So we had this
that's a problem
in the community that people were paying for registration. They weren't getting it. So we had to get back involved, and we took it back from them. And then we put it in the hands of another guy who's passed away, Alex May. We called him Holiday. He ran it for about a year, but then he wasn't putting the shows. So now dogs are getting registered. Did a great job of getting that out, but now the shows are.
Yeah.
So it was a battle, and me being one of the owners of it, and the creator, I kept. It became embarrassing, and then so we brought in some other entities and some other people got involved. And for about a year, it ran in California, but it just never really ran right. And in the end, it was like, there's no way this is going to work unless we bring it back home to where it started. And I invest in it. And to be quite honest with you, Deanna decided that, I will, run it. I'll run the office and do that. So when we brought it here in 2011 is when we opened up the office in Virginia. And that's when things really started working. Because we started getting pedigrees out, we started recording, and people finally saw it as a legitimate business and a legitimate registry. And then people finally started investing in it. And really started to grow. So it was that work that was put into it from that point on that really propelled it into a legitimate business and really worked for the people. But a lot of people don't know this history, and they hear little pieces of it, and they think all these weird things and the truth is, no, we created it, but I didn't want to run it. I didn't want to invest my life into that. It was a necessity for the breed, and it was a necessity to do, but I didn't want to personally do it, And 2011, that's when it happened. And I give a lot of credit to Deanna because, to be honest with you, the registry is people think it's glamorous and glorious. It's about names no, it's about data entry. It's truly data entry. And to sit there and have to, and Deanna in that office, it took them about 2 years to catch up on all the back things that were never done prior. And that's the truth of the ABKC and how it formed and how it started. And it's not glamorous. It's not pretty. I don't go around telling the history because it's not a great history, but that's what it was. And that's what took it to this thing. And then when you get all these people that are like, oh, well, this guy might have started first. No, nobody really started first. That's how it really happened. The difference is we really invested in it, and we really continued to make it work, and we really worked for the community, and we made it grow, and we took this breed from that point on around the world, and that's when the breed became recognized and known and popularized and all of these things. So people want to try to steal credit or claim they did this, but the truth is, if we didn't do what we did, there would be no American Bully, 100%. All these other names that claim something, they didn't continue on with anything. They're not still relevant. They would have never done what we did. There's a million people involved, a lot of different bloodlines and breeders involved. It took everybody to make it happen. It took everybody coming together to make it happen. Credit to everybody, because we needed all of you. We needed the community in order for this to work, and the community did do it. So it is truly a community-built registry, community-built breed, but that's the true history behind ABKC.
So no matter what anybody else says, because y'all didn't let go is the only reason we have it today.
Yeah,
100%.
There's no way around that.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
So they can all tell their stories, but the truth is that's the actual true story, and not taking credit from anybody. But if we didn't let go, it would have never happened. I'm
glad you shared that with us, man. And I don't know how anybody sees that as a bad history. I mean, it's really not. It's just found its place.
It found its place, and it was dedication that did it. Nothing more,
Yeah.
I mean, we had a mission, and we stuck with the mission, and that's it. That's it.
I don't know how Deanna did that for 2 years. That first 2 years.
I don't know either. I mean, she
I
did.
could not have done that.
Yeah, God bless that she did all of that, and now we have an Emily that runs the main office. That's, every bit as good, But I mean, yes, but that's really what it was. It was blood, sweat, and tears, doing all the things that nobody else wanted to do, and that's what everybody wanted to put their name on it, but nobody wanted to do the work.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad y'all did it.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, and the thing is with the BKC, I mean, I don't, at that point, I don't even think they had the actual breed name established as far as
they never ran with American Bully. They were just using the same generic name we all were. We were calling our dogs bullies. I mean, we all using a generic term, bullies, and everybody ran with that, and that's what they were running on. And I mean, time frame, we're talking a couple months difference. Chicken or the egg? I mean, you can go search public records and see who registered first, but I mean, I know that's the real history. I mean, that's what it is. So, and no disrespect to anybody. I mean, we all were trying to do something. It's just, it was just really sticking with, what we did.
Creating a breed standard and agreeing upon it, with multiple people involved. I mean, that I feel was that literal nail in that coffin per se, is that you can sit there all day and be like, well, we're a registry for this particular breed, but until you actually create a breed standard, what are you doing? Like what are you doing for the breed?
I actually love the American. I love the ABKC breed standard for our breed.
And the other thing about it too is that standard. So there's a lot of misconceptions about our standard. I hear all the time, you're constantly changing the standard. You're constantly changing the standard. These are actual lies. Like we have in 2004, we wrote the standard. 2008, we added the varieties. 2018, we tightened the standard, removed the extreme, and stopped allowing the Merle to compete. 2025, we added more flaws, more DQs, and allowed the Merle to compete again. Those are the only times.
That's a pretty tight ship, if you ask me. I mean,
and that's the truth. But I hear all these rumors all the time. They're constantly doing this. First of all, every breed has changing in their standards. The correct way is as the breed develops, you get a tighter standard. You get tighter, a little loose in the beginning, and you tighten it as time goes on. Typical, normal, no different than anything else. The only difference is we've only done it. We've only had 4 different times that we've dealt with this standard. 4 times. And it was, like I said, 2004, the creation of it, 2008, the addition of the varieties. 2018, the removal of the extreme, tightening of a few different things, better wording, and removing the Merle from competition. And then 2025, what I just said. So that's it. That's it. And then on the Merle thing, just I want to be clear with people. We did not come up with the name Blotched. That was the original breeders who entered into the brood stock of ABKC. There was like 10 of them at the time, that were breeding Merles in 2004. Mm-hmm. They voted on their own name, and Blotched is what they came up with. Merle, a lot of breeds use different terms for Merle. It's not just Merle. Like if you go into
Blotched, Harlequin, like it's
go into the Great Dane, it's Harlequin. It's I mean, it's like there's a few different names, and Blotched is one of those. So it's not. I heard somebody say to use that to hide it under. No, we didn't do that. That's what Merle breeders voted for, and that's what Blotched means. So I've never even. I'm neither here nor there for Merle. It's just it is what it is. It's been in our breed, and then it was tabooed. And I think when it became taboo is when it became popular, because when things are taboo, they tend to become popular. And it's like, there's people arguing, was it here, wasn't it here? Yes, it was here in the beginning. Do the dogs of the day stem back to the dogs of the beginning? I don't honestly know, because there's a period of time when people stopped putting Merle or Blotched on their papers because they didn't want to. They did it for UKC for years. The UKC had Merle pit bulls for over 100 years before they finally did away with it. And then what did the breeders do? They didn't stop breeding them. They just stopped calling them Merles on the paper. Same with the XLs. XLs have been huge with Merles for years and some of the best ones. But those dogs are coming in from other registrations prior to ABKC. It's normally UKCs where are coming in from. So we don't know how many generations they didn't say Merle on their papers. What we don't know, and it's very difficult for us to know, and all we can do is the best we can do is just vote on what we were going to vote on. And this year was voted to let it in for competition. It was never, ever stopped for registration. That's the crazy thing is I hear people say, oh, it's for a money grab. Like, it's not a money grab because ABKC makes no money on nothing, just registrations. That's the only money that comes to ABKC, not shows, not judge fees, not entries. It shows none of that. So by accepting it for competition, it didn't change anything internally financially in ABKC because, as I said, we've never not registered it. So
right. But now being able to show wasn't this boost of funds.
Really, Dave, that's those adjustments that were made, those 4 adjustments or whatever. That's, you think about it in the grand scheme of things. That's really not shit. Really, it's not. And I don't understand. The breed's still evolving, and so it's like. You have to have little tweaks like that in a breed still evolving. So I don't understand how anybody would ever get bent out of shape about any of that and where all the rumors come from. But that's very little, not even any wiggling at all. Just a few clarifications. No big deal.
No, and the other thing too, man, with the Merles, it's a never-ending debate. Nobody's winning or losing. It's a never-ending debate. And I will tell you this: yes. Merle dogs are more prone to certain health issues, skin, sight, hearing. Okay. Same with white dogs. White dogs have the exact same things with Merles, hearing, sight, skin issues.
For the exact same reason.
Blue dogs for many years. The thing is, yes, you can breed and not get these things. The argument is, but do we really want to allow our community that because there's so many novice people in the community? That's kind of a diss to the community. The other thing is, when you really talk to these Merle breeders, a lot of them know more about genetics than the other breeders. They actually know what they're doing.
They have to, out of necessity.
Man, you said a mouthful then, bro, because that's the thing. You can't discredit because at the end of the day, the Merle breeders probably have their genetic game up better than your average breeder.
Responsible breeding.
The Merle breeders about genetics, and you'd be quite surprised at how knowledgeable they are.
Yeah, I've done that.
But again, it's not let me just finish with this. It's not a Dave Wilson thing, though. It wasn't a Dave Wilson decision. That was a community voted decision, an internal panel voted decision. So It is what it is. But all these rumors about money grabbing, no, none of that's true. All this stuff about people saying, oh, they never had Merles in the beginning. That's 100% bullshit. Sorry to cuss in your show, but it's 100% bullshit. The lead edge. I mean, they were a unique group of people, I would say. That wasn't popular back then. The fact with Merle is Merle became popular when it became taboo. Same with exotic. When we was like, no, we don't want this in our breed. Get it out of here. Let's not do this. That's when it became popular.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
it definitely happens that way. No, because I remember being up in Idaho, and this was like 2003, 2004, and I just remember, obviously being far up there, and most of this stuff was happening down in either California or the East Coast. Merle pit bulls was this massive taboo thing, and I just remember being less like, knowing where some of that would have come from, but it came like decades, generations back. But even then, being like, oh, it's taboo. So I mean, it's one of those things that it feels like it's been not necessarily frowned upon, but there's been some confusion about it, or there's been some misguided thoughts into it. Now, when it comes to the bullies, it's like if they stem from American Pit Bull Terriers, Merle's been in there for a long time. So
For hundreds of years.
Yeah, that's what. When you say a long time, it's like it's centuries.
Yeah,
it's been there since the beginning, because one of the breeds that it stems from in and of itself, it had Merle already implemented to a very large degree, if we're going to be honest. With the Alapaha, like that was probably implemented at some point, but that's been a thing for a very long time as well with the bulldog community. So it's just one of those things where it's like people need to calm down. It's been
They need to learn. I would tell you, there's a couple breeds. There's a Louisiana cur. There's a Tennessee cur. These are old breeds, right? These are breeds that came in Merle patterns, right? Old breeders from those areas, pit bull breeders, Floyd Boudreaux being one who just passed away recently. Great dog, man. Really nice guy too. But he'll even tell you, like he told me the history of Merle. Like I talked to him a long time ago.
I've had a Boudreaux dog before.
So the thing, so you know Boudreaux stuff. So the a lot of the pit bull breeders, the old school breeders, the game dog breeders, all had their own mix. They wouldn't tell you what was in their dogs. They all had their own mix. And you see some of these guys down south had Merle in their stuff, and it came from some of these cur breeds they use. That's where the Merle came in the Alapaha. It came from some of these cur breeds, they called them. I think it was Tennessee cur and Louisiana cur were the two breeds, I think.
Catahoula, I thought.
Yeah, well, the Catahoula got that gene from their dogs.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, Catahoula got it, and so did the Alapaha. The Alapaha also got it, from those same ancestry. So the ancestry to Alapaha, Catahoula, pit bull, all kind of stems from the same thing. Those cur dogs that carry, and I don't mean cur dogs like in the fighting sense. I mean that was the actual name of what they called the dogs.
Game dogs.
They're really coon dogs, is what they were. They were dogs that chased raccoons.
Free climbing, just crazy.
So, and there's a whole history. I mean, I've been through all history, but the bottom line is I'm not a Merle guy. I'm not a Merle breeder. People have used my dogs in Merles, but to say that Merle was never there is a lie, 100% lie. And I'm not here as an advocate for it. I'm just telling the truth. I mean, I can tell you Smoky Mountain Blues and George Bostic from up in Detroit area. And, these guys were breeders that were breeding Merle way back then. And when we started the gene pool for the breed, we started the stud books. These guys came and entered their dogs. So you can't say that it's not in it because they were entered then. Their history shows it. You could argue that the stuff of today might not all stem back to that. That is an argument. And I can agree in some of the argument. I don't know. I don't know where everything is. I can't tell you where everything came from. I can just tell you that it was there in the beginning. That's 100% truth. That's 100% accurate. I mean, for people to deny that, it's a lie. You don't have to like it. You don't have to feel that the modern stuff came from the old stuff, but you can't say that it wasn't there in the beginning because it was. We registered them. I mean, that's just what it was.
I remember in the 90s, I had some Boudreaux and some Butt Kiss, and I was trying to build my dogs then, and I was telling the fellas, I'm like, we don't have enough Razor's Edge over here. That's where we're going wrong at, and I was and I was talking to my guys, we're trying to get our money together and get some Razor's Edge over there because the consistency with Razor's Edge was so attractive, man. You could guarantee, man, like it was strong blood even then. I remember.
And that was a true Razor's Edge. And that's a whole nother story because Razor's Edge, there's so many misconceptions out there. And Razor's Edge went through changes. I'm Razor's Edge. I started Razor's Edge, and I'll tell you, I started with game dogs, and then I got into Amstaffs, then I got into American Pit Bull Terriers, then I got into the American Bullies. I've been Razor's Edge the entire time. I've got game dogs that are named Razor's Edge because it was my kennel. I have Amstaffs named Razor's Edge because it was my kennel. I created a bloodline in the American Pit Bull Terrier in UKC that is Razor's Edge, you know. And then when we transitioned into the American Bully, later on, I started to bring in other stuff. Once we mixed Gotti and everything to make this breed, I also brought in some other things too to make another generation of Razor's Edge. That was the American Bully. And then move forward to these days, I don't even care about bloodlines or any of these things. But when I do breed dogs and I create dogs, I still put my kennel name on them. So there's so many levels of Razor's Edge, you know, that it just depends. People, they argue all these things, but they're not understanding. Like Razor's Edge is a kennel, Razor's Edge is a bloodline. It's both. It depends on where you are. If you're an American Pit Bull Terrier, it's a bloodline.
Depends on the era.
It depends on the era and what I was doing at the time. You know,
what I'm talking about was 96, 98.
I remember I remember being in the message boards, and I remember seeing Razor's Edge and seeing pictures of these dogs, and you know, that was one of those things, because you know, back when I was in you know, pit bulls and Amstaffs, that was the thing. I was sitting there thinking, like, look at these dogs. Razor's Edge was like, it was just one of those things where it was just a very, very good name to hear. And so yeah, I mean, I knew about you way back then, so that was pretty cool.
The early 90s was the heyday. So a lot of people tend to look at the original dogs like Knuckles and Cairo and all these dogs. Those are foundation dogs, you know.
96,
so Cairo's
produced. It was hard.
96 is a time, like, I mean, that was straight, you know, me. I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. I didn't actually, no, I wasn't.
Yeah, I was all you.
But the thing is, like, let's look at that era, because that's the forgotten era was a strong. Look at how many combinations of pairs I created. Daz and Jules. Famous pair. I don't know if anybody raised Razor's Edge, but Daz and Jules are famous. Both made here at Razor's Edge. I made Daz and Jules, sold them to Danny Gaddis. He moved on. Blue and Sage, the dogs that made Remy. I made Blue. Yes. I made Sage. Famous pair that went on to produce, you know, to Remy. I mean, I can go on and on. Short Shot and Diamond, you know, another pair famous made by me, Razor's Edge. You know, I mean, there's just so many. Rockin' Ruby, Manu and Neela. I mean, I can just go on and on of these combinations of pairs. Dogs that I sold as breeding pairs that I made here that went on and made other people. Go back and look at all the famous breeders that have dogs, and you will go back to one of those pairs that I just named, or some other one.
Sadie was like, man. Yeah, I mean, there's dogs in my XL's pedigree that when you scroll back, it's just Dave. It's like,
yeah. I think that's something. We have this little debate right now going on about the original dogs that I brought in when I started. We can get into that too if you want to, but I'm like, did everybody forget that the big era, like when Razor's Edge became famous? It wasn't famous during Knuckles. It wasn't famous, and by the time it got to Demon Boy, that's American Bully. That's something different.
Yeah,
the era of the fame of Razor's Edge is the early '90s. And that's, like I said, look at all those names that I just named. Blue and I mean, there's so many. I mean, I was almost more famous for selling breeding pairs than anything else. And go back to all those breeders, and you start to realize, oh shit, you know, those were actually breeding pairs sold by Dave Wilson. You know, made and sold. You know, but that's a forgotten era, and that was the biggest era of Razor's Edge. There was a period of time when you walked around, you could see a Razor's Edge dog. They could argue my pedigrees all day long, fine, but there's an era when you walked around, you saw a Razor's Edge dog, you said, that's Razor's Edge, that's Razor's Edge, that's Razor's Edge. And that, to me, is when
Diamond and Sage are probably two, like,
made both here. Blue and Sage made both here. Sold to a guy in California before the Remy was made and all that, you know. Short Shot and Diamond made here, you know. Razor's Edge, all of them, you know.
I know you miss breeding like that, combo. Man.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can go on and on and on and on. It's like all of a sudden that my best work is like not brought up anymore. But yet you go look at breeders like Pratt and all these guys have great dogs, and they were great breeders. But go 1 or 2 generations back behind Nemesis and all these dogs, you'll see they all stem off of pairs of dogs that I sold. You know, I made and sold.
You know what I see right now in this moment, Dave? I'm seeing the sacrifice that you made, because I can hear the passion in you as a breeder. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And you had to set that down to do what you did. And I know you still have such a passion for it. I know that was tough, man.
Yeah, it's tough. And I ain't gonna lie, this month was the toughest month, because it's like all of a sudden everybody's gunning for me, and they're like picking and choosing little things like ex-girlfriends and stuff, like all these crazy things. Like, No. I was raised at edge long before I was in any relationships. You know what I mean? In any relationship I got into, I'm the one that brought the dogs in. I'm the one that bought the dogs or found the dogs or did the pedigrees. Like, you know, I mean, I've had people that come in and out of our lives like we normally do, and they play their part during their time. But I've always been the breeder. I mean, I see the thing going on right now about Knuckles and all that. I'll tell you the story about Knuckles. 100%. Kim, so I had a dog named Max, right? Max was an Amstaff that I got from a friend of mine named Ron. The bottom half of Max's pedigree was a bloodline called Ryan, right? The top half was a lady here in Virginia that did it. Story Times Upon This Rock was the father. And it was a local Virginia Amstaff breeder in the late 80s, right? And then she bred to a dog that was Ryan. So when I got this dog, Max, I'd never had a dog like this in my life. This is the first Amstaff I ever purchased, ever owned. And Max was like a workhorse, man, but short, stocky, bully, and a workhorse. And I would go to Storytime Kennels, Ruth Teeter was her name, and all her dogs were tall and lanky. They were just a different type of staff, not my style, you know. And that was the father. Storytimes Upon This Rock, Peter was the father of Max. And, you know, and I would look at her dogs like, why is Max the way he is? So then I started researching this Ryan blood. And then I found this Ryan blood was a different type of Amstaff. And the guy that actually created Ryan, though, that guy, when I got to talk to him, he still like hot dogs. It was kind of weird because he was an Amstaff breeder, but he still like fire in the dogs, you know. But all his dogs were really short dogs. And I found a dog one time that was owned by, I forget who, but it was a blue female, little blue female. And she was also Ryan. I was like, this is blood I really like. So years of doing research, finding breeders, I ended up finding this lady named Kim through another source. And they're like, she actually has a male that goes back to some Ryan blood, you know? So I got to meet her. And when I met her, I got really deep into her yard. And I was there every weekend. I was a dog trainer. So I would go out there every weekend, train her dogs, train her, all her clients' dogs, became really close to her. And in the end, I ended up buying 7 dogs from her. I didn't just buy Knuckles. I bought Knuckles and his 2 sisters. I bought Knuckles, Rage, Lil, Roxy, Muggsy, Little Man. Like I bought 7 dogs from this lady, all, and some of them from the same litter because they all had this little twist of Ryan in them. And that's what I was thinking. I said, if I buy all of these, at least I'll have foundation to what I want for and then I'll start piecing out one of the other stuff. Long story short, the lady burnt on all the paperwork. But bought all these dogs, never got the AKC paperwork on any of them. None of them. Knuckles, his sisters, all of those dogs didn't get the paperwork. So ended up meeting Pam Purdue, and Pam Purdue was like, you know, I'm the one that bred the mom of Knuckles and Lil and Rage and all these dogs. She's still registered UKC, and the people that bred the father, Catman Roo, is also, they still hold the UKC papers on Catman Roo. So she helped me figure out how to get all those dogs single registered to the UKC. So here I am with all these staffs and no paperwork, and then Max, my dog Max, obviously, you know, and no paperwork. And that was my whole program was Amstaff. And at that point, I had to go into the UKC and start breeding pit bulls because I had put so much of a financial investment in this that what am I going to do, you know, without, so I got UKC papers. Long story short, I ended up leaving Max at that lady Kim's house for a while. And one day I was sitting here looking at the cover of Dog World, right? The first time ever on the cover of Dog World was an Amstaff. And I'm looking at this dog like, this dog looks like Max. Like same face as Max. And it's a Russian champion. So I ended up contacting the people. I'm like, hey, who's your dog out of? And they're like, the father's name is Razor's Edge Blue Max. I'm like, how the hell did you get a dog out of my dog? Anything.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So this is honest God true story. So here I am years down the road in pit bulls, find out that she bred my dog. So I took her to the AKC at the time, filed complaint and everything, and they were going to revoke all her paperwork, all of it. And at that point in time, you know what she did? She made a deal with me. If you drop this, sign off on this, I'll give you all those dogs AKC papers. So I did. I got all those dogs AKC papers, and I signed it. I was so invested in UKC that I never really went back AKC. I was already generations after those dogs.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing on like I have an ex and these are her dogs. That is 100% bullshit. She knows that's bullshit. We all know it is. I mean, yeah, you can say Knuckles is your pet if you want. That's fine. But I ended up buying 7 dogs. And I bought the 2 sisters, you know. And it's like I could tell you stories about every dog like that. So I just hate that these people are trying to make things ugly and trying to take credit. When the truth is, if you really talk to me and you talk to the other people, you'll understand where the truth really lies, you know. And the truth really lies in I was raised as edge before any relationship, and I've been raised as edge after any relationship, and I've always been the one that found the dogs, researched the dogs, put the breedings together, chose the picks of the litters, you know, and that's what I've done, you know. And anybody in a relationship, of course, you know, they do their part, and that's part of a relationship. I don't want to get ugly and talk about somebody, but if you know they're getting that way, eventually I'll tell the whole story and just be like, hey, you know, sorry, but you're going to look really stupid in the end if you really want to go down that road. But anyway,
yeah. Well, and that was one of the things that, again, that's what's made this month such a weird month for you. And so I'm really strangely, I feel I'm proud of you for being willing to come out and, you know, kind of tell your story, because I mean that is a lot of people just kind of feel like if they hear it from one source, they're just like, okay, well, I'm just going to take that as gospel, or sounds legit, but they don't really hear it from the actual source.
Yeah, you have to talk. I mean, once you really get into all the things, if you really talk to the actual people, you'll find out the real. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you start talking to people who done what. I mean, I can even dogs like Sadie. Like, I mean, that was a dog I purchased for an ex-girlfriend, but I purchased it also because I wanted to use it in a breeding program. Because when I found Sadie, you know, I what was really cool about that dog is that dog has a pedigree that the top half of the pedigree all goes back to dogs like Ario Speedwagon and these dogs. The top half of the pedigree is all Amstaff. The bottom half of the pedigree is all UKC American Pit Bull Terriers. She was a pit bull. But the top half ties into the bottom half. So within her pedigree, you can see the history of how the Amstaff came from the American Pit Bull Terrier. And I thought that was a really cool thing in the pedigree. He wasn't exactly the dog I wanted, but I wanted, you know, I wanted my ex didn't have a pit ever. She didn't have pits. She didn't have anything. And at the time I was like, well, I need to get you one too, but I'm buying it for breeding, but it's your pet. and that
I love it, give it scritches and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
When she comes in heat, she's mine, but until
that's really how things went here. You know, like if it coming in is mine, I pick it out, I do all that. You can show, you know, and we had a good partnership. Something people, the handler and the breeder. I mean, that's, you know, it works out well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's no hard feelings. I'm not trying to bash anybody, but let's stop putting out false information. I mean, that's just crazy to me. It's really crazy. Come out
now. Candy's asking if you have any, because obviously, you know, we've talked about how, you know, the ABKC and having to kind of put your, you know, pretty much all your time or a good decent amount of your time into that and keeping it and perpetuating it and whatnot. But do you ever feel like you're going to get back into breeding? And like, is there anything coming up that you're kind of thinking of? Or
so breeding's I like creation and with everything. Like I'm the guy that'll create a fish tank and I'll make a beautiful reef setup or a beautiful this. Yeah. And when it's all finally set up, I break it down because I got to do something else again. You know, something's not right mentally with me. I'm the same way with landscaping. I love creating landscapes, and that's why I live on a lot of land, because I'd go crazy if I couldn't keep creating things. It's the same with dogs. I just have this weird thing in my brain that I have to create, you know, and dogs are always my passion. Like one day I'll tell the whole story of Razor's Edge because it stems back into the 70s, you know, 80. I don't know,
we need to have 70s. You on for it, man.
But
definitely.
But it's just like I just have this thing for creation, so I can never stop making dogs. What I do now, though, sometimes is if I see a dog and I really like the dog, I have to figure it out how that dog was made, figure out what I could do to actually recreate that dog, and then I'm satisfied a lot of times without ever having to do it. And
you have to reverse engineer it to re-engineer it.
I just like to reverse engineer things a lot, you know. And to be honest with you, I don't know. This new generation of breeding dogs it's beyond me. I can't get anything to take. It costs me a fortune, and then nothing works. I like the old days when the dogs bred naturally, or you help them breed. You know, that stuff I understand. Yeah. The new generation with all this, I don't know, in vitros and all the other things, and it doesn't work well for me for some reason. I don't have the luck. I've literally wasted probably $20,000 to $30,000 in the past 2 to 3 years on breed. You've seen me advertise breedings, but you never see me go any further with it because they don't know them. And it's not even a problem. Like I use studs that are proven. I use dams that are proven.
They got good fertility. Everything looks great on paper, and then it's like it comes down to it. And
like poor John Gueco, you know, the one with Master Poe.
yeah,
Master Poe got puppies everywhere, and I can't get one. And he's been a great guy though, because he's allowed me to switch to other females. You know, he's gone above and beyond. In all honesty, great business with the guy, above and beyond. I don't know what's wrong with my luck. I can't. But yes,
I love Master Poe, man. That's a beautiful dog.
He's not a show dog, but he is an impressive dog. You know,
he's an impressive dog.
And people also got to realize not all dogs are show dogs, and a lot of brood dogs are not the show dogs, and a lot of times the brood dogs end up. That's the problem in our world is the brood dogs sometimes are more valued and more wanted than the show dogs. But people keep trying to make a brood dog a show dog, and it's just not the way, you know.
Right. And I remember we actually had Lindsay Butler on here not the last week, but the week prior. And man, it was one of those things where I said something that I recently also saw somebody just the other day post up saying, you don't see breeding tools in other breeds. And I was like, because Lindsay set me straight. She was like, oh, they exist. You just don't see them in a show ring because people aren't bringing them out because it's frowned upon in other breeds. It's like you do not bring breeding tools into the show ring. If they're off standard, that's where they stay. They stay in the darkness to create better dogs. They create the dogs that you can bring into
every breeder, true breeder that has like a line, not just somebody putting a couple of dogs together, but true breeders have brood dogs in their yard. Everyone. I mean, when you would come to my yard, I would have more brood dogs than show quality dogs. And a lot of times too, I would sell the show quality dogs because that is a promotion. And you know, the brood quality dogs make the show quality dogs. I have to say though, Lindsay Butler is one of the few that I really feel has a true program. Molly Fuchs,
she's
true program. You know, the Ferreros, true programs. You know, these are some breeders that really have true programs, and I have a lot of respect for those breeders, especially Lindsay. Lindsay's kept it real the whole time, and she's done a good thing. So I really do have a lot of respect for her, for Molly, for the Ferreros. You know, those are some really good breeders. You know, we have other breeders that have created bloodlines, you know, in our breed, muscle tone, some of the stuff coming off of Khan and those guys, you know, I think those are more than Robert Lee. I think he's created a bloodline at this point in time, you know, so you have some of these guys that have really created bloodlines, and then you have some of the others that have just really solid programs. And, you know, I think those are a few that Black Label used to really work hard for blood. So there's a lot of that out there. Sad that we're not all in the same boat anymore, but you know what I mean? You know, but there's a lot of good bloodlines out there, a lot of good breeders out there. So we're not just trash breeders everywhere. We have some really good breeders with really good programs in the American Bully.
Agree. No, absolutely. It's and I mean, and the beauty of it is, and we say this all the time, it's just like whenever anybody is like, well, how am I going to, you know, get started? How am I going to, you know, figure out what dogs to get? And like, go to these shows, meet these breeders, see these dogs, put hands on these dogs, and, you know, figure it all out. I mean, because I cannot tell you how many people we've had on the show that will openly and bless them for this, being brave to admit it, but they say that they will have started with types of dogs. They will go to a show and either they'll be trying to show and have little success and then have a judge tell them, you might want to start over. Or they will see the dogs that they're showing against and be like, shit. But
that's also something we as a community, we need to push to get the dogs back out there. Like we got to get away from this sitting at home and thinking like I can just sell anything. That COVID time is done and gone, and it screwed up so many things in our breed. We need to not like settle for breeders like that anymore. You know, like we need to get back to where we can put hands on dogs and we can see dogs in person. If we're going to buy a dog and you're going to invest your money in it, invest in a program, you need to see that dog in person.
Exactly.
You know?
Start a program off a dog you've never seen.
Yeah.
Crazy that somebody would buy a dog they've never seen and don't know anything about what's going on but what they've seen online, especially nowadays with all the AI and all the crap. It's like that's just something that I can't wrap my mind around, you know.
No, and I'm guilty myself. I've used AI to edit photos just because I like, oh, well, might as well, you know. But I also invite people to see my dogs. I really don't care. I'm like, for me, it's not a business. You know, if somebody wants to use one of my dogs, I charge a decent enough fee that's worthwhile, but not something that's going to break a bank, you know. And I welcome anybody. You want to use one of my dogs, come see it. Come see it yourself. Is what it is.
Oh, for sure. And I love that. There's some really, really good breeders out there that literally, just like you just now, are just like, you know what? Come to my yard. I have absolutely nothing to hide. Come and see these dogs. If you're interested, you have questions, you want to see where these dogs came from, what their temperament's like. They're like, come to my yard. I will host you, zero problems. And
Marco Suarez got on here and told us all. He's like, man, y'all want to come see my program? He said, come to the house, come to LA. I'm here.
Yeah, that's the man that I give a lot of credit to, because in my opinion, he's the one that set the pocket off. It was a lot of, like, if you go behind all the dogs like Paco and all those, I mean, Paco's parents were both produced by me. So there are Razor's Edge, and his line is predominantly Razor's Edge, but he bred tighter and tighter. Like when I created Little Row, I didn't want a pocket. I was trying to recreate Cairo, and I ended up getting Little Row. And that's when I realized that if you put this part of my line too tight, they get smaller, and that's where Little Row came from. And he was not what I was aiming to produce. And then Marco took it even a step further, because Paco is doubled up on the same blood. Little Row back to was it Diamond or no, Diamond's daughter? But anyway, it's all the same blood. It's all the really tight blood. And it got smaller. And then Marco started breeding that stuff even tighter and smaller. And so I give him credit for being, I wouldn't say the inventor of the pocket, because there's other bloodlines like Alvaro out in California, and then like Little Row and stuff. But he was the one that mainstreamed it, popularized it, and really
kind of made it a little bit more consistent.
And built
it in. Yeah.
So he gets a lot
of
credit.
That. Good call out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and the thing is, you do have to be, pretty transparent, or at least you should be. And there's a lot of folks out there that it's unfortunate. Like they'll go ahead, they'll get a dog from a breeder, and then somehow, like they don't really get that support as well. And I feel like some people they'll just sell a dog and they're just like, it's yours now, go forth, never talk to me again. And I think that disconnect can create a bad breeder as well, because then they're sitting there thinking like, I have to do this all this on my own, and so then they themselves will also not help anybody along the way. I mean, do you feel
Sadly, we're in that generation now? Sadly, we're in this weird generation of everybody wants a limelight, nobody wants to help anybody else out. I mean, it's just a weird phase we're in right now. I don't understand it. In the days of breeder, I'm always here. Like when people ask me questions, I'll answer any question, and I will give you any advice. But it's just almost a lost art now, and it's kind of rude. And I don't know. We're just in a really weird time. I mean, this whole thing,
weird time, man.
It is, and I'm gonna reiterate this again. Taking a young breed and separating it in so many different directions, and breed clubs that don't even tie into the ABKC doesn't make sense. You're going to destroy something too soon. If you think about it like this, taking a tree and branching it off in all of these branches, right? But if everybody's trying to chop away at the tree, and eventually you take down the tree, all the branches go with it. You know what I mean? You've just killed the whole thing. And people aren't thinking that way. Everybody's like taking stabs at everything and trying to discredit everything and break everything down. And in the end, what that actually does, it breaks them down as well. None of these other registries and all these things are going to survive. If ABKC and the American Bully doesn't thrive that way, it's not going to thrive any other way. It's just not going to happen. If you take down a tree, you take out all the branches, you take out the roots, you do it all. You know what I mean? So it's like, we got to be really careful in this world. We're not that big. We're global, but we're not that big, and we're not that old. We're way too young to start sending this in all these different directions. And it's just stupid to constantly try to chop down the foundation of what you actually have. It's just dumb.
Now, and I do have a question for you. This is just for my own personal, because I'm weird like that. So I have grown up and since the beginning, I've been, a big fan of, dog shows and exhibition. And obviously, when I got into, I went, from, pit bulls, Amstaffs, and, being in the American Bully, I have a desire to see our breed eventually compete with the best of the best. These breeds that have existed for, hundreds or more years, and do it on an even keel. I would love to see that. Now, that is a road that I know is going to take a very long time to get to that point. Now, do you feel like eventually we're going to get there?
I feel we're there. I feel like we've created our own lane. We created something that was more infectious than any of the other things. We created a community. We created an environment. We created a way of doing something that was new, that was different. I don't feel like you always have to look at something old as being the best. I think sometimes something old is stale. I think sometimes something old is too set in its ways. I think if we're referring to the AKC, I think that the AKC has some advantages and a lot of disadvantages. I think that the AKC is responsible for ruining a lot of breeds. The AKC is 100% responsible for supporting puppy mills. The AKC is very responsible for taking breeds away from the originators and their breed clubs and all of these things and conforming them into what they feel is something. And I think that sometimes you rob the essence of something when you do that. And we're something different. We're not just a breed. We're a community. There's something bigger to the American Bully than just a dog breed. And everybody that's in it knows it. You know it. We all feel it. We all realize we created something unique and something new. And I don't feel like we have to conform to these things to where then they can take it and then put their versions of it and erase what we are. We are the essence of this breed. It's not just dogs. It's people. It's a community. It's all of these things coming together. It's people that you didn't expect to do things. People, not only the community, but the breed in the beginning and all these things had negative stereotypes and all of these things put against us. All of these things that we had to overcome to get to where we are. And we did it on our own, and we did it by coming together as a community. I feel like that's more important because we offer something that obviously people around the world love. If you travel to shows, you'll see it. When you go to shows all around the world, you'll realize, man, we created something really unique and really cool, really different. And I don't want it to go into the hands of something like that because it'll ruin the essence of it, in my opinion. I don't care to see, Westminster is a great thing. And I was super proud to see Christine and one of our born and bred and raised ABKC junior handlers, go there and take second at Westminster. And to me, it's not the validation of Westminster. It's the validation of people saying, you all aren't the same. You all aren't what we are. You all, you know what I mean? Can't do this. And we're better and this and that. And then in the end, here you go. You got a child that popped up in our world and was able to compete in their world and take number 2. And that tells me our world is that good. We are that good at what we do that our youth can now compete with what is considered to be the top, considered to be the best, So I'm not a fan of that. I think that AKC ruins a lot of breeds. And I think that's why ABKC, we don't want to be the house registry for all these other breeds. We'll give them a place to show, but we're not trying to take you from your other registry. We're just offering you an alternative for showing. That's it. And AKC is the opposite. They want to be the house registry for all of these breeds. And they would take it from our community and they wouldn't have the essence of our community in the breed anymore. And I think when we look at it that way, we realize we're giving up this. And that's why I don't like that other breed club and some of these things, because it's not the true essence of the people that built it and lived it and loved it. Like, we do what we do because we love it. We all love this. We love coming together. We love our community. We love all of these things. And I think that it's not necessarily the best outcome. I don't agree with it. I think our breed will lose its essence. And I honestly believe if you put the dogs in the hands of those people, they're just going to turn it right back like they did all the other breeds. They're going to water it down until it's lost its identity. And then you're going to go looking at a show and be like, is that a bully? Is that an Amstaff? Is that a pit? I mean, what are they? Because every year your pits and Amstaffs flip around and, like they got a different look this year. And that's the same thing that happened to our breed. And I'm not for it. It's just not me.
Now, do you think that the AKC, you just spoke on the AKC. Do you think the UKC is kind of in that same pot, or do you think that because we already have a pre-existing?
The UKC to me is a joke. I'm sorry. I'm gonna call it a joke. It was.
No, we're asking for your opinion.
Yeah, the UKC was. Like, to me, it was the most boring. I mean, it was a very boring time at the UKC. I mean, all the things they say about every registry judge is always the same. Like UKC, I had to, figure out what judges I could and couldn't show under. Because it's just they're all over the place. But what I don't like about the UKC is the disrespect for the way they took in our breed, because they did everything they could to remove it. They did everything they could to separate themselves from it. Then when they saw that there was a financial part of it, they said, okay, we'll take it. Now we want it, but we don't want to give you all the credit for it. We don't want to include the history of who you all are and all the things you did. And on top of that, we're going to charge, when they started out charging $15 more to register American Bullies than any of the other breeds, and if people didn't see that as a disrespect, I don't understand. Then the second thing they did was, we'll let you just do handwritten pedigree. So they would accept anything. They didn't care about the pedigree. Anybody could handwrite it. And then that was another disrespect. And then they came out now they have 3 different pedigrees for our dogs. They got, I forget what one's an American Bully, but now they have the Bloodlines pedigree. A bloodline for our breed means you don't have to have any documentation behind your breed. So it's like I could steal your dog and then tomorrow put the same parents as your dog and then register it with them. And so it's like there's so many disrespectful things. And if people are new to it, they don't see that. They're just buying into this, little hype of what's going on.
Right.
Back a few years and you realize they didn't want us. They didn't want these dogs. They want our money. And they showed it over and over and over again that it's the money that they're into, not the dogs, not the people. And so, yeah, I don't see any purpose in going that direction. To me, I love being able to sit back and say, hey, look what we did without you. We didn't need you. You didn't want us.
Outside of you.
Yeah. And now you want us because you see a financial gain. So I'm not for that 100% not for that. And the thing is, there's a lot of rumors about me like, oh, Dave was banned from UKC. Dave got no, I've never been banned from UKC. I've never been on their ban list. I didn't get kicked out of UKC. In fact, I didn't even lose in UKC. I made the decision to stop going there when they changed the standard, as a lot of other breeders like Gaff and all these other breeders did the same thing. And in fact, 2 years later, they called me out and I went back to their California Classics 2 years after I left, brought a Razor's Edge dog there and won the entire California Classics all 3 days, won the entire show. Not only best in breed, I took best in show, all 3 days, just to prove a point. So there's no bad blood between me with them, and there's no situation where I didn't do well in that thing. I dominated in that arena, but I just saw the disrespect. And there's a lot of other stories I could tell. The California guys could really tell how they were treated, which isn't even me. I wasn't treated bad. I saw them treating people bad, and I stood up for that, But so no, I don't see that as something I would ever want to be involved in. In fact, it embarrasses me when I see our community over there because I'm like, you guys just don't understand. You're somewhere.
Well, the first thing they're going to want to do is they're going to take the culture right out of it, which is
already done.
Yeah. And then they're going to try to take all the different classes of the American Bully and combine it.
It does exist that way already. There aren't any classes. It's literally American Bully, and the range is this. Instead of like class. It's like
and here somebody's talking about they must have missed out, like saying that they thought we wanted to compete against other dogs to show our quality of our breed. We do, but in our own environment, in our own in our own atmosphere. We don't need to go to another registry to do that. There's plenty of great breeders in our registry to have plenty of great dogs of other breeds. We just want to be able to open our platform to some other breeds so that we can see our dogs against the quality of some of the other dogs.
But still maintain.
You got to go to another registry to do that. Yeah.
Because I know that, so there's been some breed, there's a specific breed club as of late. It's one of those things where it's just like you can tell that these people are super hyper passionate about the breed. They love their dogs. They compete, and they are very good. They're very, very good at competing in whatever arena. Theirs, yours. They compete in the ABKC, and they do pretty well. Several of them. So, I was curious if there would ever be, because I know that you're not interested in trying to get in with the AB or the UKC or the AKC. I get that, because you've made that very, very clear, and you have good reasons. So with the, what is it, the UABA?
Yeah.
Would you be interested in ever having a conversation with them, like sit down with them personally to kind of hash this out so that they can understand where you're coming from? Because it feels like there's just this huge.
If they don't understand where we're coming from, that means they don't really truly understand our community, and they don't truly understand the history of our breed and the essence of our breed. So, it's up to them. If they want to come into participating when we open the breed club up to more things, then yeah, I mean, individuals can, yes, but as an entity, no, we have, like I said, we have an internal breed club, and on top of the internal breed club, we're going to be opening it up more and doing. Where we've gone wrong is we haven't been the best at putting things out there in a way for everybody to find it, see it, and participate in it. That's where we've really hurt ourselves, and that's where we're focusing on right now. And you gotta give me one more second because this battery just got to switch this up real quick. Mike, take over. I'll be right back. 1 second.
I got you.
All right.
You give it to him. No, absolutely. Well, and
He keeps saying the word essence, and that's a big word for the American Bully.
It is.
I feel like it's so important for what it has become is its essence, and what culture and what all is tied to it is part of what it is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a big reason why we can actually use the word community and mean it. And when it comes to the ABKC, I mean, obviously, when he talks about things that they've done right, but he also is willing to admit that there's things that they need to work on and things that they're wanting to push forward. And I'm looking forward to when he comes back, because I do want to ask him about this, the breed club aspect of the registry.
Yeah, there's some good raw talk.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying this.
That's right, because that's I think going to be part of the forward movement of the breed that some people have been searching for, that feel like they haven't quite gotten it, and I think that this is really going to be a movement forward and a good step in the right direction. And some of these people, I think, could really use that. So, Dave, you mentioned a breed club within the ABKC. Give us a little bit more information about that, if you don't mind.
Well, we kind of started out with that earlier when I was explaining the internal part of how the ABKC works, and what you see, like I said, is. This is, I think, confusing to a lot of people. When we didn't really start truly as a registry, we started more as a breed club. And when a registry creates a breed or a breed creates a registry, this is kind of an unusual situation that only ever really happened in UKC. UKC started for the American Pit Bull Terrier, and UKC oversaw the development of the American Pit Bull Terrier through their registry for hundreds of years before they added a breed club. And we're kind of the same situation. Is since we created this and we created the breed and the standards, we have to follow it through its development first. It's not a fully developed breed. As you can see, we are still not there. We really are. The XL is finally the XL is coming. Like I'm actually really now excited about the XLs because they're finally coming out and showing up, and you're starting to see that variety really doing something. But I agree. We're in the development phase, and you can't take away that from this registry, because this registry is more than, it's not, like I said, you have registries and then you have breed clubs, but we created that breed, and we are developing that breed. So we are still the breed club for that breed through its development. Inside, we have an internal panel of people that vote on things and discuss issues and changes in the standard or whatever the case may be, and that happens internally with a panel. And then sometimes that panel opens up the discussions and voting to the public, which you saw when we opened a few times when we opened it up to the public and did voting. And as a breed develops on and moves on, eventually then you start to expand and you do more with the public and other breeders, but it takes a period of time, and right now we still have an internal breed club, but Alex Ferrero and Devin Ferrero are being brought in now to head up the breed club. Alex and Carlos Caicedo had been working on something for a while that they never quite finished. So now we're restructuring that so that it can be more transparent and involve a lot more voting from the public and breeders and things like that. So you'll see that expansion very soon. But prior to that, it's been an internal panel that has pretty much voted on every aspect of the breed. We've always had an internal panel. I remember one year it was like, Marco was on it, Ron Ramos was on it, Susan was on, there's a bunch of people like that at one point in time, senior judges, and it's still the same way, Rolando and, a lot of our senior judges. So it's normally senior judges that make up the majority of the panel internally, so that's kind of
So everything still goes to a vote, like, because that seems to be one of the biggest caveats. Like that seems to be one of the biggest focal points where they're just like, well, where do I get to vote? Where does my say come in? And the thing is like, you also have to understand that I don't know of any other breed club for any other breeds. I mean, Pomeranians, Yorkshire Terriers, West Highland Terriers. They don't allow just any breeder that just so happens to have one have a vote on decisions that get made by that breed club. So asking that and having that expectation isn't really a realistic expectation.
No.
Those decisions are made by people who have,
you don't want to. I mean, look at the it's when it's put into the hands of the public, and it's very difficult because everybody has their own idea. It's a weird breed where every breeder has their own idea and their own version, and it's very hard to keep that uniform. And then if you're starting to outsource all the decisions, outsource it outside of the registry right now, it'll get lost everywhere.
That's chaos. That's chaos, man.
Yeah, it's just too hard to track. It's just too much. And again, anybody that's sitting there thinking like, well, just because I own one or because I breed one or because I am registered within this particular either registry or club, I should have a say. You realize you are one of, in some breeds cases, because they've existed for quite some time now. It says you're one of millions, technically within the American Bully.
Oh yeah, one of millions around the world. And you also got to look at like
there's no way we're going to sit there. And
no. And then look at let's. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this might be the end of the night here because my battery. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, look at the people on these panels and really look at the credentials. I mean, are these people that have been in the breed for a really long time? Are these people that have history and programs and all the things that you would want, because we're still in the phase where it's the breeders are the essence of a breed, and you really got to look at like who these panels are made up of. And are they made up of people that really have longevity and really have history and really have the knowledge and really have dedicated programs and consistency and all of these things? And these are the people you really want to make decisions for your dogs? I mean, sorry, but I don't think so. I think that should be in the hands of the people who've been here for a long time, that really understand the essence of the breed and really have programs and really have something that you can look at and say, okay, they have consistency and they know what
I
they're doing.
agree with that 100%.
100. And I see that people are going to take offense to that, but I'm sorry. Look in the mirror. Really ask yourself, how long have you been here? What is your program? What have you done? Not just champion dogs, but what have you done for proving that you're a breeder of this breed that really has the consistency and really has a program and all of these things. And most of the cases you look at it, and most of these are people that just have a couple of dogs and they've gone to some shows and got some titles. And that, it takes a lot more to really understand a breed and the development of a breed. And we're still developing this breed, like I said.
Yeah, so. You've got to know where you've come from in order to know where you need to be heading.
And no offense to the people, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm sorry, but check your pedigree,
Absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is again, it's so important for people to understand that these things truly are anything that is considered within the ABKC is considered by way of votes. Like, people are voting, qualified people are voting. And it's just one of those things where it's not just something that just gets thrown out into the ether where one person makes a decision, or it's just like, okay, well, screw it, we're just going to decide to willy-nilly do something. Like, I don't think they understand the length of time it takes for y'all to like literally sit down with each other and capitulate and decide what's the next step. And when you guys decide to move forward with something, I mean, there are certain topics that took a while for you guys to get to and to like really kind of make a final decision on, because you guys, it was a discussion for a while and it needed to be. And that's the thing. It's like,
and that's the way it really should be. It's a little disrespectful for people to come in fresh and say, hey, we want to take over all the work that you all have done and built and are still developing. It's a little disrespectful, So, I mean, and again, it's not needed at this point. It just isn't needed at this moment, to be honest with you. I mean, like I said, we're still in a development phase. Look at the breed right now. Look at the breed as a whole. It's still got a long ways to go. And like I said, COVID really put a hurting on us. It was a step back. It was really a step back in the development of our breed. really was, you know.
I
And
think
there's nothing any
you're
of us
right,
can
man.
do about it, you know.
There's been a lot of loss of manners.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of manners have been lost. It seems to be. I don't want to put it on this generation, but definitely on this day and time. Seems like just people are super disrespectful with all that, man.
They didn't dedicate their lives to this, you know, and it's very disrespectful because you know they use laughing emojis and try to take stabs and all these rude things. But the bottom line is they haven't worked for this breed the way we've worked for this breed. They haven't, you know, and they don't know the ins and outs of this breed. We've been developing this breed for a long time, and you know the breed is where it is today because we've worked this hard. I mean, they have the dogs because we worked this hard, you know, and that's the truth to it, you know.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's about these dogs or it's about nothing at all. And people lose that. They're in the industry of people, whereas like this is, again, it's about the dogs or it's about nothing at all. And so I don't know. I mean, I do feel like they're, with this breed being as young as it is, obviously trying to create more consistency across the board is going to be a huge endeavor. I do feel it is absolutely possible. It's just a matter of finding out the how and creating the support system for it, which I think the ABKC is, while you can't legislate morality, you can create an environment where you have the tools that you can give, the education that you can give, to these breeders, so that way they have a place to go and when they have questions, they don't feel like they just need to kind of wing it. So yeah.
And look at it too. I mean, everybody, if you really look at it, everybody wants to pull it in their own direction. Everybody that's saying that they're doing this for the good of the breed or this for the breed, really, really look at it. They're not, they're just wanting to pull it in their direction. We want them to look like my dog. So we want this to be like our dogs. Or we want it, and then they're all pulling it in all these different directions. And again, what does that do? It pulls the whole thing down in the end. And you'll see it in the dog shows right now. I mean, it's in so many directions and things that it's ruining something before it's completely developed. And that's the problem. I don't have an issue with people wanting to do something better for the breed, but you need to do it together. You can't just do it in all these separate entities. Stick with the main entity that did it, work internally with the main entity that did it, and let's get this thing the way it should be. Let's not pull it in a million different directions and a million different registries and a million different breed clubs now. That's like the new thing. It was like registries became the thing, and now the breed club's the new thing.
Oh, and we lost him.
Oh.
His battery's gone.
Yeah, he told us it was imminent. Oh, damn. Now, one important
Hey, he was getting warmed up
takeaway.
too. He was.
I know. Damn. And that's the thing. I mean, in all
Some
reality,
raw talk.
it went out with exactly, the point he was trying to make.
Man, I can't hear you.
Huh?
Michael, you're frozen.
Oh, I think he is. There he is.
Yeah, his battery's dead.
Yeah. So
I was waiting for him to finish the sentence, and I was going to say, "Hey, before your battery dies, is there anything you want to say?"
he was absolutely saying it. Now, I do feel like it was, first and foremost, he said that if there was anybody who wanted to talk about it, they could. And here he is. Oh my God, we thought we lost you. Your phone died, and there he went again.
No, did it go again? No, he's still there. I think he went back to the cell phone.
Possibly. Because stream. Oh.
There he is.
All right, y'all got me now?
Yeah, we got you.
There we go. But yeah, I mean, I think you're,
Can you hear me?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I really commend you for,
Hold on, can you hear us, Dave?
Can you hear us, Dave?
Try going out and back in.
Uh-oh.
You got to go out and go back in.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on either.
Tell him to go out and back in, man.
And hop back in. You see what it does. But I really commend the notion of, like, if we need to do this, let's do it together. Please come and talk to me, and see if that works. I'm always happy to have, hear people that are like, let's hash this out. but come to me and hash this out. I think that's something to be said. So.
All right. Hey, can
I'm
you hear
not
us?
sure what's happening. When I come on, I lose the volume.
Can you hear us though?
Try one more thing.
And then Michael left too. That's.
Man, damn it, died, dude.
I'm back.
He's back. Don't call to come back.
StreamYard is mad right now. They're not letting us in or something. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he was. We're
Watch,
getting
he'll
too.
go out and come back in and he'll push one of our sounds out. Caleb won't be able to
Yeah.
hear, or I won't be able to
Hey,
hear, and
but
let's
if
go
it
out
if
and
it
back in.
pushes him
Hey,
Maybe
listen,
it'll
not
on,
push
being able
him
to hear
out.
Caleb's a good thing.
let's
Oh, there
see.
he is.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
I
can you
see
hear
him.
us?
There he is. I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Jump off and see if y'all hear him, because he's the one that we need to listen to. All right. Because once we start dropping off and things like that, the volume starts messing up. Like Dave, can you hear us at all?
Uh
Hello? All right, I'm gonna jump off and I'm gonna view in to see if he can get on.
oh.
Oh, it doesn't even start up.
Who knows?
Well, see, I can hear you, Dave. Like I can hear you. I cannot see you, but I can hear you.
I can't see him or hear him. Can you hear me, Amanda?
I can hear you just fine, Mike.
You can hear Dave right now?
I can hear Dave. Like I can hear him rustling around in the background, talking about how confused he is and it's not working.
Dave, you may have to go out and back in. That's the only thing I can do to get it to work is go out and back in.
Yeah, I mean you've had to do that. Oh.
Uh-oh. There he is.
All right, I'm back.
Hey, and I can hear you.
Yeah, let me.
I can hear all kinds of things right now. That's very.
Hold on 1 second.
Such a weird sound. What is that on the other phone? You have phones on here,
Yeah, hold on. All right, we're good now.
Now we're good.
Yeah.
The other one, it was
You don't know what I just had to go through. Yeah,
I literally felt like I was just like, man, I feel like either I've had too much wine or something else is happening because it was like
You made that
the
happen,
curve off
Dave. I
of
can
your
just tell you
phone
that.
versus the other device was freaking me out.
probably not enough wine. That's probably the problem.
Problem. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, we're just gonna go with that.
So where
But
were
no.
you?
Huh?
Where were you, Dave?
I don't know.
We were talking about how the ABKC is trying to get kind of back involved with having more breed club aspects and
Oh, that's right, Amanda. You were about to
and
ask
Alex and
him.
everything like that. So I know that we definitely need to hear a little bit about that. So
Well, you were asking him a question. You were going to ask about how he feels about somebody else if he would. It wasn't a. You didn't say partnership, but it was.
oh no. I was just gonna I was commending the fact that he literally said I would be open to people coming and talking to me about this. Like, come and talk to me, but come and talk to me.
That's going to happen, and that's going to happen, and you'll see that when Devin and Alex, come out and open the breed club up to where the public can join in and ask questions and participate and vote. You'll see all of that in the very near future. So that will happen for sure.
I'm glad they're doing that. That'll work out.
Yeah, I don't want to turn away the people that are trying to do something for the breed, and I don't want to turn away the people that are trying to create these breed clubs and work for the betterment of the breed. I do feel like we would like to involve them to the best that we can. But like I said, it's too young to outsource it, and especially completely away from the ABKC, 100%. So, but I think that once they see how we're reconfiguring this and how it'll be able to interact with them, the breeders and the public more, I think people will see it a little bit different and want to be more involved in that and keeping the breed in its, house registry and
Yeah.
working from there. So I think once they see the way that it'll be configured to where it's not just privately internal and it's more transparent and they'll be able to participate more, I think then you'll start to see that, okay, that'll change around. Yeah,
I think that'll work.
I mean, we do listen. Don't think we don't listen. It's just that we don't always agree, but we do listen,
Yeah. So again, for anybody that's trying to, navigate this and trying to figure out like if they have ideas on what a breed club needs, or like in the event that they're like, hey, we really want to see this kind of progress within our own breed, talk to talk to ABKC, bring it to them and
people are going to be blowing Alex and Devin up now. They're going to be blowing them up.
Like give them a minute to configure it the right way before we start blowing them up. But yeah, the bottom line is you just don't want to pull it in a million different directions. That's really the bottom line. The bottom line is it's got to stick with its home, because if you start putting in all these directions, it's just going to fall apart. It's just too young for that. And we are definitely open to talking to people. I reach out to people all the time too. But again, it's not really Dave Wilson, as we talked earlier. It's, I'm not the one making all those decisions. So, and I think once they see that it will be more transparent and more open and more accessible, then people will really start to feel a little more comfortable with it and their interaction with the breed club. So that will happen.
Oh, no, absolutely. And we have to take in consideration that there are breeds that, are out there that are hundreds, if not in a couple of cases, thousands of years old. So it's just one of those things where it's like, we got to kind of be willing to accept the fact that we need to take our time with this, and we need to really create a consistency. And if that takes slowing down our roll, okay. Then that's what it's going to take. But we have to be patient. We have to play the long game. So many people, I feel like they want to jumpstart when it's just like, there's not even a battery in the car yet. There's nothing to jumpstart. Calm down. Like, let's just go ahead and, work.
Yeah. And it also, like, we were a slow start. Like, this community didn't come from the show world. The majority of this community didn't in the beginning. I mean, I did, yes, but the majority of the community didn't. And this community, we literally built a community that we literally took each step of the way. Like, I remember the first shows, like, people didn't know how to show dogs. People were coming in with spike collars on their dogs. And, that really how we began, and for me, it's difficult because I came from the show world. I actually came from AKC to UKC to then ABKC. I went a different route, and it wasn't that long ago that was the case. And now all of a sudden we're in a phase now where you got kids in junior handler programs that are amazing handlers, so we've come a long way in a short period of time. We really have, but we're not there yet. We're still growing. We're still young. And it's like, again, if you keep putting it in all these directions, you'll see. And they're seeing it now. I mean, I think everybody's really starting to realize, too many directions is not good. It's actually hurting everything, and that's all I'm trying to say. I mean, this isn't, I wish people could really get to know me and understand, like, I don't care about financials things. I don't care about the business side of this. I mean, really, I dedicated my time to the community and the breed to try to get it to be a legitimate, popular breed, which it did. And it did work. But, I want to see the longevity of the breed. I'm not just looking for today. I want to see 100 years from now. I won't see it 100 years.
I think we got a good question here, Dave, and they're wanting it answered. So I think it's really an easy answer, but it's off my screen, Amanda. It was by DCB Ray Wilson. He was talking about how do you keep the business out of the breed club. It's just a few comments back. I can't see it, Amanda.
Oh, he was just saying, how do you basically, how do you ensure that the registry won't put the business before the breed if the registry controls the breed club?
I think a lot of people think that, but it seems easy to understand how, to me, because the registry built it. So of course they would want the integrity of it to be what they built it to be. Yeah. And so that's
100%.
That's how it stays above it.
I don't really know what the business side is that's going to get in, that would get in the way of that, though. I really don't even know what that is. Because
Yeah.
I didn't set out for business. Like, as you see, this whole thing was done out of necessity. It was never done with the intention of being a business. It was never done with the intention of finances. It was all done out of necessity. Nothing was done for any other purpose. Nobody said, hey, let's just start a business and do this. And no. It was like, we did what we did because we had to, you know?
And what better organization than the registry, the main registry, than to be the responsible party with the breed club? Because to me, it's like, how else do you keep them hand in hand?
Yeah, you don't. And a breed club, like I said, it's just too early for this. And again, we are a registry that created a breed. We're not just a registry that just started adding breeds, you know? That's not how we started. So, and I don't understand the thing about, people saying that this is all about control. I mean, I don't want to control anybody. I just think that it's detrimental to a young breed to start sending it in a million different directions. And it's pretty obvious right now. I mean, you can really look right now and see what I'm talking about. I mean, people say, well, why isn't there consistency in the breed? Let's blame it on ABKC. Well, why don't we blame it on the fact that we've got 10 different registries with different standards? That could be a reason why there's not a lot of consistency, and aside from the COVID thing. Or, we got 2 different breed clubs trying to start, and neither one of them's working with a house registry. So, there's not control. But when you're really wondering why is there not a consistent, much consistency, well, look at what's being done. Look at the fact that it's being pulled a million different ways with a million different interpretations. That's why there's no consistency. It's not because of control. It's the fact that it's just not finished yet. It's not a completed breed. So, and they might not agree with me, but most of the people who don't agree with me have an agenda, and it's pretty clear. I mean, you can read the comments and you can say, this guy is with this breed club. This guy is with this registry. This, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty obvious. I mean, the guy that mentioned that, I mean, I can tell you what registry he's with. The other guy that's, got his local plan, I can tell you what breed club he's with. So it's like, come on, let's be real. They have their agendas, and their agendas are for their thing, what they want to do in the direction that they want to go. So when we're talking about control, it might actually be you all that are trying to be the ones that are taking control. And that's why you're trying to discredit us,
Which goes back to what I said, why I feel like it's important that the breed club be within the main registry of our breed.
Yeah.
It's not to control the whole thing, but it's to keep the integrity there based on the principles it was built on.
Correct.
And that's the thing. If you got 2 different parties, 2 different organizations in under 2 different households, well, then it's like, well, who's got the authority there, and who's getting what information from who? Because there's, different registries have different expectations, and if you have a main breed club for the American Bully that's outside of the ABKC, well, then you have conflicting interest automatically.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't see how it could work that way. I don't.
I know you can. And even look in your comments today. I mean, how many different comments are out there that are showing that they want to take it in their own direction? I mean, it's every other comment. It's like, no, we need to do that. Like this guy saying, come on, let's be real. Well, I'm actually being real, and you're not really feeling the realness. You know what I mean? It's like, how much real can you get? You have an agenda that you want to take it with this registry and go this direction because you feel like that version is the right version. But the truth is, the version that a lot of these people are looking for is already existing in ABKC. We have Classic. There's nothing wrong with Classic. It's there. It's not going anywhere. And a lot of the dogs that these people feel are the representation of they want the breed to be, it's already in ABKC. It already has its spot in ABKC. And a lot of these end up being Classic people that really like the direction of the Classic. Great. But we offer that. We're not stopping to offer that. And I'm an advocate for it. And I can tell you a million times why it's a great thing in our breed, So it's just, you got to be careful of the comments, because a lot of the comments are based on agenda. And our agenda isn't control. It isn't power. It isn't finances. I really could care less about that. I've said so many times that I really feel like sometimes I just want to step down or step back. And the reason I say that is because it's draining. It is really draining, because everybody's trying to find a way to cut something down because they want it to go their way. And that's really the truth to it, And
well, and no matter whose feathers it ruffles, it's like, well, you should have been here since the beginning and should have helped build this thing to what it is. If that's what you're that serious about, like you can't take it away from the people that made it what it is today and redirect it to fit your own narrative. You just can't do that.
No. And again, it's like some of these breed clubs right now, they're not working with ABKC. So I don't even understand the argument why they would feel like we would want to support something like that. It doesn't even make sense to me, So anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, but I do appreciate that you have admitted that, like, you're just like, listen, I'm willing to hear you out. Come to me, talk to me about your ideas and why you think this is necessary, or just throw your ideas at me. That I'm not, you are trying to be approachable, and I think that's vastly important, because I feel like some people may have built in their mind that they can't come to the ABKC with this stuff. They can't, they have to develop outside of it because they feel like they just can't develop within it. Yeah. So yeah, obviously you've made it clear on more than one occasion that you were willing to talk. So,
I'm 100% willing. And like I said, it's not all me. I mean, now now people really understand the ins and out of the company and realize that it's not just Dave Wilson. I mean, I have a small piece that I play in it, but very small piece. But I think there's also a lot of confusion. I think a lot of times people see the dogs advertised on the internet and they think that this is the direction of ABKC because this is what's popular on the internet. Not necessarily, or, they see the results of a dog show or they go somewhere, judges can only deal with what's being presented. I honestly believe we're in a bad point right now. We took a step back because of COVID. I really feel that the influx of poor quality dogs happened during this COVID bubble, and we're in that moment right now. We're in the moment of seeing, the flooding of all of that stuff that happened during that time. Yeah. And on top of that, we're in a situation economically that's just not the best right now. So it's just so many factors are happening at one time that are affecting the dog world, affecting the American Bully breed, and then pulling the breed into so many different directions. In the midst of all of this, it's just another piece just chopping down something, and it's making it harder, and it's making it harder for consistency and all of these things. So I just think that at this moment, the best thing is unity. The best thing is for us to all to work together. And as much as they might not like what I'm saying, it's truth. And as much as they might not like what I'm saying, we are actually listening. And we are going to be opening the doors to where more people can be involved and their voices can be heard, and they'll have a stronger influence inside of the registry. So even if they don't agree with me at the moment, at least they will in the end say, okay, well, they really actually did listen, and they did open up the doors to where we have a better way to be involved. So, and that we will do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I love that. And again, I think that's been most people's like, they're not listening. And it's just like, okay, but knowing that, you're open to talking about it and trying to, make it more accessible as far as, talks are concerned. I think that's very important. So I appreciate you, coming forward with that and being open to that. So hopefully that will create a little bit more unity, where there hasn't been. So, Dave, I'm really happy that you came on tonight to talk about all this. And I know that there's so much more that I know that we're going to be really, really happy to have you back for, especially when it comes to, I really do want to talk a little bit more about your program from back in the day, because nostalgia is always a beautiful thing. But also,
I'd love for you to get on here and break down Razor's Edge all the way one day.
Exactly. I would absolutely love that, because that's where I actually have my personal passion. My personal passion was.
I heard your passion tonight talking about your dogs, man.
So that I definitely want to.
There's a whole story that precedes all of these things. So it's like, I'm a dog lover, and I have when you get into the passionate side, it's a whole different side of me. So yeah. One day I would love to do that. And, I really hate to come on here and deal with drama and rumors and all that. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody. I just feel like we're hurting ourselves by not unifying right now. I really feel like that. I feel like at this moment, there's so many different people that want to go so many different ways, and it's just not the time. I mean, I think it's going to hurt this breed
It already is, and I think it's pretty obvious. If we really step back and look at it, you can see that just all these different directions and ideas and things. It's just too much for a young breed right now, and it's showing now. So
Yeah, I can't wait to have you on again. So we'll have to start planning that sometime soon, so that way, one, we can talk about your program and your history, but also, next time you want to make any kind of announcements about, anything that's new at nationals, things like that. So we definitely want to give you that platform for that. But again, thank you so much for your transparency. Thank you so much for, giving us some more information about the ABKC, its evolution. I think a lot of people just didn't have that information. Now they do.
You tied together a lot of gaps tonight, brother.
Yep.
Because from what's actually going on to what people hear all the way down here on the internet and all this different, I think things get misconstrued and misdirected, and then like nobody knows what really was said and what's really going on and what really happened. And you straightened out a lot of that history tonight and spoke to the community about what's going on right now and what y'all are trying to do. And I think it's a good thing. I love the premium pedigree. I love that y'all are working on the breed club. I have no beef with the DDC and what y'all are trying to do there. I think it's great.
Good deal. Thank you all. And thank you all for the time. And
Yep.
As always, thank you for the platform. So
Yeah.
much respect for that.
Anytime,
All right.
Much
You have a good
respect,
night.
brother.
Thank
Sorry
you,
about
gentlemen.
the battery issues, but next time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, we're
No
good.
problem, man. Until the next time, brother.
All right. You have a good night.
Yep. Later.
Bye.